I say the word.
Get my life together.
That's what you get.
Whether the team is giving us the highest of highs or the bluest of blues, we'll cover it all here on Commanders Nightly News. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. This is a big week for the Washington Commanders. Not like last week wasn't, but this week, every week intensifies in terms of its importance. The magnitude increases with each and every single loss. You win last week, and this game against the 49ers doesn't mean as much. Let's keep it a buck. I mean, you win against the Giants, you take a full 2-game lead or a game lead over them, but essentially a 2-game lead over them because they can't finish tied with you because you would have owned the tiebreaker. Now that's in the reverse. And so the Giants essentially just have to win 2 games. I mean, you could probably say the same for us, 2 out of the final 3, but that's really the case for the Giants. There are no bets. All bets are off for Washington at this point. You just have to win games. And before we move on to San Francisco, and it's a short week, so we don't have a lot of time to dwell, and I talked about that yesterday, how disappointing of a loss it was, and disappointment lingers. And I'm trying not to allow this to cloud my judgment, but that was a tough one to stomach. And watching the film is either going to do one of 2 things. All right. I'm not going to leave the film feeling the exact same way I went into watching it, because usually the film, you hear players and coaches alike say the same thing. Well, I got to watch the film. That's some real shit. Like the only time I feel like that's a player cop out, because as a coach, you can't see the full field. You can't see the whole field. So you definitely need to watch the film. But as a player, you know what you did. Like, you don't need to watch the film. If you're a receiver and you had an opportunity against a corner and you didn't get the ball, you don't need to watch the film other than, did the quarterback have time to get me the rock? Was he under pressure? But you know what you did. If you're a defensive lineman and you had a rush against, a left tackle, your defensive end, you don't need to watch the film to know what move you put on him, or if he stonewalled you, or if you got held. You know what happened. But when you're taking in the entire product, you do need to watch the film. And I'm either going to feel one of 2 things after I watch the film. I'm either going to feel encouraged, enthusiastic, like, oh, it was a little thing here, it was a little thing there. How many times do I come back and tell you guys, oh man, we could have scored 30, if this would have happened? And it's just these little things, man. And then, or it's the, oh my God, that was a lot worse than I thought. You're going to be one of 2 things. This film study was intense. I'm not going to lie to you. And I had at least 10 people in the film study with me, and it was intense because of the magnitude of the game, but it just continues to highlight some of the deficiencies that this team has. We knew what they had coming into the season. We knew what deficiencies were lurking around the corner. One injury here, one injury there, and voila, you've got a big problem on your hands. We knew that at key positions going into the season, i.e. corner, linebacker. It's amazing that if you go back and watch some of the videos from the offseason, just go back to June and July when we were talking about this team. And what was the one thing that, was an overarching theme? I can speak for myself. I won't speak for you, but a lot of you probably were echoing these sentiments. Not really worried about the offensive line, man. John Matsko does a magnificent job. Whatever pieces you give him, he's going to figure it out and get the best 5 up there, and they're going to find a way to get it done. That was a lie. Okay. Now, they're not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. This is a far cry from what we saw in weeks 2 through 4 from this group. However, still not good enough. Okay. But that's what happens when you're playing musical chairs up front. I'm just going to give you the short version. I don't want to say too much because I've done this on the film breakdown already, and I'm going to leave that there for the gold members to consume. Okay. But just to let you know, it was an intense film session and a lot was gleaned from that film session. Now, I'm just going to give you a few of the cliff notes. I won't give you everything. 1, we have a problem in the slot. A massive problem in the slot. Bobby McCain ain't it. Okay. Bobby McCain was horrible in the game in coverage. He tackled his ass off in the game, did Bobby McCain. In coverage, he was a liability, and that is putting it mildly, okay? Bobby McCain was a problem and is going to continue to be a. If he can't cover Richie James in the slot, we're in some big trouble, okay? Richie James is the least of your worries as a slot defender in this league. And if he's giving you work, I'll put it to you this way. If Daniel Jones on every single third down in the game would have just thrown the ball to Richie James, we would not have stopped the Giants on Sunday evening, and we would have lost the game by 2 touchdowns. I'm not exaggerating. Now, would they have had a drive that would have stalled out? Maybe. I mean, look, they're just like us. One mistake can derail a drive, but I shouldn't say that. They had an 18-play, 97-yard drive with 2, not 1, 2 second and 15s, and they ended up converting both. One on 3rd and 9, the other on 4th and 9. So maybe they're not quite as inept as us, where drives die after one mistake. However, if he had just gone to Richie James on every 3rd and long, they would have won the game comfortably. I'll just say that. Bobby McCain is a liability in the slot. The only hope we have as fans, and again, I don't trust the staff to make the adjustment. They're stubborn. That's been proven, which is why the title of this video is Check Your Egos at the Door. Players and coaches alike. If you're going to make it to the playoffs, we got to put egos aside and do what's best for the team. I'm talking about Jack Del Rio. I'm talking about Scott Turner, especially Scott Turner. I'm talking about Ron Rivera. I'm talking about Chase Young. I'm talking about all of the guys or all of the players or the coaching staff members that are putting themselves ahead of the team. Check your ego at the door. Either you with us or you against us. You can't have it both ways. Pick one. Pick a side. The only hope is that Benjamin St. Juste comes back healthy and they move Danny Johnson inside and Danny Johnson isn't an abject disaster inside. That's the only hope. At this point, I'm not touching Kendall Fuller and I'm not moving Juice back inside. I'm not doing it. Even though Danny Johnson may be a better option outside than Juice. Juice is a better option outside than Danny Johnson. But Danny Johnson can't go inside. At least not the last time we saw him, but he's done it before. I'd do that before I put Benjamin St. Juste inside. I'd at least try Danny Johnson inside. And if he gets cooked, then you may have to go to extreme measures and you may have to move Benjamin St. Juste inside, which again, you may be weakening 2 positions by doing that. I can just tell you, Bobby McCain ain't it. That was some of the worst nickelback play I've seen in a while. And we've had some bad ones here in Washington. That's some of the worst nickelback play I've seen in a minute. All right. So that was one of the first takeaways. Takeaway number 2. Scott Turner continues to be a problem in the red zone situationally. I don't know if you guys were aware of this, but we counted it on the film breakdown. Brian Robinson only had 4 carries in the second half total in the game. Now, there was a 5th that was negated by the Terry penalty, which was bogus, but 4 carries for a guy that averaged 7.4 yards per tote. We had 3 trips into the red zone. Do you know how many times Brian Robinson carried the football in the red zone in the game against the Giants? I'll give you a clue. I'll give you a hint just in case you need it. Curtis Samuel had more carries in the red zone than Brian Robinson in this game, and Curtis Samuel only had 1 carry in the red zone. So I'll let you do the math as to how many touches Brian Robinson had in this game in the red zone. We went 1 of 3 in the red zone, mind you. That's awful. That's horrible. That makes 0 sense. Okay? The concepts that we ran in the red zone, loser concepts. You're not, to me, when you get into the red zone, it's less about your scheme. It's more about how do I get specific guys opportunities that I think are winners. Terry's a winner. Jahan's a winner. Size is a winner. Okay? Size is a winner in the red zone. Okay? So Logan Thomas, Cole Turner, Cam Sims, those are winners in the red zone. How do I get matchups for them? How do I isolate those guys? Not hard. Not hard at all. Trips to one side, got a single receiver over by himself, split out wide to the wide side of the field. Or you can do it in the opposite if you want it to be a faster throw. Split everybody else out. I'd rather just have them be out to the wide side of the field for more space so you can't have a bunch of defenders hovering around. I want Jahan out there by himself. I want Terry out there by himself and run a slant. One-on-one. I want Cole Turner or Logan Thomas or Cam Sims one-on-one. I want a bunch to the left. I want one of my big 6'5", 6'6" targets to the right against a 6'1", 6 foot, 5'11" DB. One-on-one, back shoulder fade, see if he can go to the top shelf and get it. Why do we make things harder than they need to be? Nope, we're running little simple concepts. Taylor Heineke spoke today. I'll save it for when I get to him. But he kind of just pretty much said, yeah, he didn't say this, and that wasn't his intent, but this is the way I'm interpreting it. Scott hung us out to dry. They played cover 2, and the concept that we ran didn't really give us many options versus cover 2. Well, what the hell do you think they're going to run down there? Taylor pretty much said, yeah, that's probably what you're going to get. We'll finish that thought when we get to Taylor Heineke's press conference from today. I'll just say this, though. For as bad as Scott was, and he always is in the red zone, which is why we're one of the worst red zone offenses in football. For as bad as he was, just like it usually is, there was an opportunity, which takes me to my next takeaway from the game. Taylor Heineke wasn't good enough. He wasn't good enough. And when I say that, I'm not talking about not good enough like the defense or not good enough like the offensive line. I'm talking about if we had a better quarterback, slightly better quarterback, not like Joe Burrow or, Justin Herbert or one of these young gunners. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about if we had Ryan Tannehill, we win this game 33-20. That's what I'm telling you. If we had Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, we win this game 33-20 or 27-20 or something to that effect. Ryan Tannehill. Not Lamar Jackson, not Josh Allen. Ryan Tannehill. That's how much was left on the field in terms of opportunities. It's getting old having this conversation because the Heineke hive doesn't want to hear it. But if you're not watching the film, I can't have the conversation with you. My last statement to the Gold Mob members, the Gold Mobbers, at the very end of the film breakdown was this, and I'm going to disclose this to you. I said, if Taylor Heineke plays like this against San Francisco, he will be benched. I even went on to say, if he plays that way for the first half of the game against San Francisco, there may be a thought to benching him in the first half and coming out in the second half with Carson Wentz as the quarterback. There was an opportunity to hit Logan Thomas on a play before the fumble that he had. Logan Thomas is open in the end zone. You're going to have to make tight window throws in the red zone. Logan Thomas was wide open. Anticipate the throw, make the throw, put 6 on the scoreboard. Take the lead and give us a chance to hold on to the lead. Instead, he panics, he gets scared, he runs into a damn near sack and barely gets rid of the football. Anticipate the throw, make the throw. That's what you have to do in the red zone. He didn't do it. The next play he fumbles, we get nothing. Okay? End of the game situation. Sucks. Yep, they called a bogus-ass penalty on Terry. We should have the touchdown and a chance to tie the game with a 2-point conversion. You had 2 cracks at the end zone after that penalty. Scott Turner, I said, hey, look, dude, time was not a factor. There was still a minute left on the clock at that time. I could care less about time after, whether we get the 2-point conversion or not. For all intents and purposes, this game is over right now. Either we're going into overtime or we're going to lose the game now. Whether it's we score a touchdown, don't get the 2-point conversion, or we don't get the touchdown at all. But whatever, I don't care about clock after I'm done here. Okay? So once we backed up, there was a minute left. I don't recall if we had our timeout left or not. That's not of any importance. You're at the 6-yard line. You can run the football. Giants haven't stopped it all night. Brian Robinson's averaging 7 a pop. How about you bring Brian Robinson into the game? And even if you don't plan on running it, a hard play action. When's the last time? Let me ask you this. When's the last time you've seen Washington line up in the red zone, heavy personnel, go play action fake and find a wide open tight end in the flats like everybody else does in the league? You see the play 50 million times every Sunday except in Washington. I haven't seen it in Washington probably in a bare minimum of 3 years, where you heavy play action fake, you boot, you come out of that thing, or you just heavy play action fake, you pop up, you look and there's a tight end running to the corner of the end zone and you just throw it to him, or a fullback or a tight end leaking into the flats and you just throw it gently to him and it's a touchdown. When's the last time you've seen us do that? You know why we don't do it? Because Scott mother effing Mr. Genius Turner gets in the red zone and he wants to go empty. He don't want to bring big personnel on the field. He don't want to run the football. He wants to spread the defense out. Like he's got this great scheme that's going to make sure somebody's open. You're not Andy Reid. You ain't scheming shit, bro. So why are we going empty? Who are you about to set up to be wide open? When's the last time we had a wide open receiver in the end zone? We don't, because Scott ain't scheming shit up. He makes the game harder than it has to be in the red zone. But even with that said, there were opportunities for Taylor Heineke to make some plays, and he didn't. He didn't. That third down. First of all, let's back up a bit. Curtis Samuel is wide open down the sideline. There isn't a giant defender within 10 yards of him in any direction. 10 yards. I'm not bullshitting you. The corner releases him to the outside. He thinks he's got safety help. They're in the safety within miles. Okay? They're in they're in the white jersey within the next district. Okay? And Taylor Heineke throws the football on a rope high, forcing Curtis Samuel to jump in the air and barely get his feet down. At the time, we're all excited about the gain and we're like, whoo, but upon further review, and again, you could see it on the TV copy, but we didn't know if there was another defender over the top or not. You couldn't see that, right? There was nobody home. If he just puts some air and leads Curtis up the field, that is a walk-in touch. We're not having this discussion. There's no Terry penalty. There's no Scott Turner bashing about the red zone, even though we could bash him for all the other shit that he does. But there's no, late game bashing of Scott Turner. There's no memes of guys on backs like parachutes and backpacks. None of that shit, because it's a touchdown with 1:49 left, and we're going for 2 with a timeout still in our back pocket. And if you get the 2-point conversion, you may be able to do what you did the last time when you tied these bastards up. Get a stop, and you've got the football with a chance to win it in regulation. He makes a terrible throw. It barely was complete. Carson Wentz made the same throw to Terry McLaurin against the Jacksonville Jaguars up the sideline with a safety coming over to help. There was no safety help here. There was no need for that ball to be thrown on a rope. Air, up the field, walk-in touchdown. Let's fast forward back to that final drive, right? All right? We're already on the final drive. Let's fast forward to that final sequence of plays. He should have thrown a pick after the high snap that skips off his hand. What the hell is that about? Like, all right, you want the game to be over right now? Is that what you want? Okay. You want to Carson Wentz us against Tennessee and not give us a chance? Is that what you're trying to do? Because you were damn close. All right. So then you get to third down. Scott Turner draws up the same play that he draws up in the red zone every time. Antonio Gibson fakes a handoff, leaks out into the flats. He's open immediately. Taylor, make an effing decision now. You're in the red zone. You don't have time to sit and think, do I want to throw this? Is this guy? It's bing, bang, boom. Either this guy's open now or you got to come up off of him and get to the next read. We're in the red zone, bro. Make a decision. All right. If he gets it to Gibson immediately on the 4th down play, there's a chance. I'm not telling you it's a guarantee. There's a chance. Okay. On the 3rd down play, Curtis Samuel is running a jerk route. Okay. That's when you fake outside, you pivot back towards the inside. Right? Little jerk route. If he throws it to Curtis Samuel, if he's on Curtis immediately, I think Curtis scores. Look, it's 3rd down. Guess what? If Curtis doesn't score, right, we're at the 1 or the 2 yard line. Now you can hand it to Brian Robinson. Or you could not hand it to Brian Robinson. It's up to you. But that option exists at the 2 or the 1. It doesn't exist at the 6. At least not to Scott Turner, it doesn't. To other teams, it does. The Browns don't mind handing it to Nick Chubb at the 6. Clearly, the Giants don't mind direct snapping the ball to Saquon Barkley at the 6 and allowing him to walk into the damn end zone. Other teams don't seem to have a problem running the football with their running backs in the red zone. That's a Washington problem. But if he gets it to Curtis, there's a chance. I like my chances with Curtis underneath, working the dude over. There's a similar play on a 3rd down. And I'm asking myself, if I've got 2 receivers on this team, one is Curtis Samuel, the other is Antonio Gibson. They're running the same exact route. Okay? They're running the same exact route. One on one side, one on the other side, on the opposite side of the field. And they're running a whip route. Fake inside, pivot back outside. They're running the exact same route. Which one of the 2 am I going to work first? Am I going to work Antonio Gibson first, or am I going to work Curtis Samuel running a whip route? I don't have to think very long. I'm going to work Curtis Samuel for 200. Bob. He's open on the third down. He would have gotten the first down. He's working Antonio Gibson. He stays on Antonio Gibson. Gibson is not open. Actually, a great play by the corner by the Giants. I got to give credit where credit is due. If he carries Cam Sims on the corner route, which he's supposed to, Gibson's open. But he doesn't. He sags off of Cam Sims, and he's on Gibson, and now that's taken away. Come off of it quickly. If you get back to the other side, you know Curtis is running the exact same route. You hit Curtis, you got a shot. Convert, move the sticks. We're in business instead of punting the football. Heineke wasn't good enough. Ryan Tannehill wins us the game on Sunday night. That's the level of quarterback. And I'm going to be honest with you. For most of this season, that level of quarterback play would have won us 2 or 3 more games. I shit you not. As I sit here right now, Ryan Tannehill would have this team. I'm not kidding. Ryan Tannehill would have this team right now at 9 or 10 wins. I'm not bullshitting you. I swear to you. I wouldn't lie to you. I wouldn't do it. That's with Scott Turner's bullshit. Ryan Tannehill has this team because Tannehill ain't afraid. First of all, he can see over the line. That's number one. 2, he ain't afraid to put the ball in tight windows. All right. And he knows exactly what he's looking at, and he knows where to go with the football, and he knows where I need to go, and I need to get there expeditiously. I can't bullshit. I can't wait. We in the red zone. I got to have it now. Get rid of it. It's too much patting of the ball. It's too much. You got an empty set. I get it. They're rushing 4. You got 5 to block 4. I don't give a shit. If it's empty, I need the ball going quickly. On that sack, that strip force fumble by Kayvon Thibodeau, Taylor's back there just jerking the thing off. Just, bro, you're standing at the 1-yard line. What do you think this is? You think this is 7-on-7? You think you got on a red jersey, they're not going to hit you? I get it. You didn't expect pressure from behind. That wasn't a good pass set by Charles Leno. But you know what it was? It was a good enough pass set for you to get rid of the goddamn football. Get rid of the damn ball. He back there. Oh, there's John Bates on the corner. I think I'll throw that now. No, I think you're going to fumble now. De'Ami Brown on the flea flicker. Look, it wasn't the best route by De'Ami. It wasn't the best sell by De'Ami. I thought Brian Robinson could have held on to it for a tick longer to suck up those safety defenders before tossing it back to really sell it, right? But even with all that said, De'Ami splits the defense, and that ball is too far. If he drops it in the bucket, that's the catch. He had De'Ami on another one where the feet got tangled, and De'Ami's looking for a flag. There was no flag, and there shouldn't have been. That should have been a touchdown. That defender didn't know where the ball was. That ball fell 2 yards short of De'Ami Brown. That's why you didn't get the flag. That ball is anywhere near De'Ami, you might get pass interference. Last thing. I won't get into all the things that we talked about. Last thing. There are a lot. I can get into a lot more. That's why you need to watch the film. If you're not watching it with me, just watch it for yourself. Last thing. The officiating. Let's talk about it. A lot of y'all wanted to use this as a crutch. It was funny. At the end of the breakdown, my guy Frankie Yo, watching the film with me, along with a host of others. You know, Luck and Kevin the PRF. We were all in there together watching the film. And Frankie Yo says, man, this was worse than I thought. I said, you see what I was talking about? You see why I said, don't worry about what the officials got going on. We could have won this game. We did this shit to ourselves. I just need you to understand the officiating was trash. It was trash for both teams. Okay. There's a play in this game. I'll just leave you with this. Yep. We know about the Terry, bogus tomfoolery. We know about the missed PI call. There was a phantom hold on Cornelius Lucas that set up the forced fumble. All of that stuff is true. But there's a third down in this game. The Giants are driving. And at this point of the game, I think the score is 17-12. right before we get the football, drive it all the way down, get the Jahan Dotson 61-yarder, and then the 18-yard run by Brian Robinson Jr., which coincidentally enough was his last carry of the night with 6 minutes to go in the ball game. Make that make sense for me. Guy's averaging 7.4. He rips off an 18-yard run, gets the ball to the 11-yard line, and he doesn't get a sniff the rest of the game. Make that make sense to me. I digress. The Giants have the football, and they're driving, and they're right within striking distance for a field goal, which would be debilitating at this point because we're down 5, and you want an opportunity to have the football with a chance to take the lead. You don't want to have to tie the game and go for 2, and that's the only outcome, is that you can tie it. It's 3rd and 9. Daniel Jones drops back to pass. And Jack Del Rio finally blitzes Daniel Jones. It takes him eons to do it. He finally blitzes him. Bless his heart. And there's not really any pressure, to be honest with you. It's not a great blitz. But Daniel Jones panics a bit. And he forces it to Saquon Barkley out of the backfield and almost gets picked off by Derek Forrest. You guys remember that play, right? They have to punt. What we didn't see, now some of you and somebody, I want to say it was Frankie Yote, but it was somebody in the comment section of the film breakdown that said, I saw that live on TV and I thought it was Kendall Fuller. Thought it was going to be a flag. Bobby McCain tackles. He tackles the Giant slot receiver, Richie James. Tackles him right in the middle of the field, right in front of the official. They don't throw the flag. They punt the ball. Don't just put this on the officials. They get that first down, they're getting points. They're getting points. Okay? It's a totally different ball game. I said that to say this. Yep, the officials weren't great. They really screwed us in this game. But guess what? We screwed ourselves more than they did. And they screwed the Giants too. They didn't just screw us. There were at least 2 or 3 different plays I saw where I'm like, shit, I'm surprised they didn't call that on us. We had penalties galore that they didn't call. All over the place. All kinds of infractions. And they just let shit go. I told you, I didn't feel like the officials, until the end, obviously, until the very end, people were crying for Jahan Dotson to get a penalty on the hit that he had on the 61-yarder as he's trying to go down. Giant guy clobbers him. There's a Curtis Samuel catch where he gets lit up by 87-year-old Tony Jefferson at safety, right? People wanted helmet to helmet. Yep, it was helmet to helmet. I'm not crying for that shit. How about Taylor Heineke not get his guy a hospital ball and just throw it to Antonio Gibson in the flats and let him challenge 87-year-old Tony Jefferson and see if he can't break him off? Why are we putting Curtis Samuel in harm's way like that? Remember that Curtis Samuel corner route that he threw on a 3rd down that was incomplete and we had to settle for a field goal? Remember that? The first points of the game? Jahan Dotson is wide open on the other side of the field. Wide ass open. And he forces it to Curtis Samuel. All right? Again, offensive line wasn't great. There's a play where Jahan Dotson is open up the seam. Would have been a touchdown, but there's pressure. I already explained that to you. I'm not going to do that again. I'm just going to tell you that the defense in this game wasn't good enough. And there's people out there trying to defend the defense. There's no defense for the defense in this game. It wasn't good enough. We did not sack Daniel Jones. We did not pressure Daniel Jones in this game. We did not create a turnover. We did not get stops when we needed to get stops. And I'm not talking about Giants not scoring points. I'm talking about, hey, Giants got the football at their own 3-yard line. They go 97 yards. Giants get the football at their own 1, and they're able to move it out from the 1-yard line before they have to punt. That's what I'm talking about. The Giants had terrible field position for most of the night. They moved the ball out of there, though. The defense's job is to not. That's what complementary football is all about. Trustway pins it inside the 3-yard line, inside the 1, inside the 5. Your job is to make sure that they don't sniff a first down and they're punting from the end zone. And great field position is going to be had on the other side. They only did that one time in the game where they stopped the Giants down there where the punt was down and we got field position off of it. That was the one where Dax Milne gets folded up like a pretzel and almost fumbles. That's the only time they stopped them down there. And that was a drop. That was a drop by the tight end, Daniel Bellinger. And Richie James was wide open because he broke off Bobby McCain on that third down. If he just throws it to Richie James, it's an easy first down. I mean, he could have walked up and handed it to Richie James. Here you go, Richie. The defense wasn't good either, man. God bless the Giants. We were playing anybody but the Giants. We wouldn't have even been close in that game. Okay? God bless the Giants. I'm just telling you right now, and this is a week-to-week league. We could look like straight ass cheeks in week 15. We can go on the road and look like a totally different outfit in week 16. I'm just telling you right now, if we look anything, I'm talking remotely close to what we look like in week 15, we will get run out of Santa Clara in the first half against the Giants. It will not be a contest. We will get embarrassed. That shit was not good enough that I watched on film. A miracle that we were even in the game with all of the mistakes and all the stupid shit that we did. A miracle that it even came down to what it came down to. With all the missed opportunities, the turnovers, the penalties. You should have seen some of the shit on defense that we were doing. How y'all doing? Let's get to in other news. So, quick turnaround, as I mentioned. Normally, Tuesday wouldn't feature any press conferences. We wouldn't know anything from practice because practice wouldn't be until Wednesday. We're playing on Saturday. Everything moves up a day. So we heard from Heineke today. Normally, you hear from Heineke and Ron Rivera on the same day. Probably going to hear from Ron tomorrow. Okay. Got our first injury report. Actually looks pretty favorable for Washington. I expect half of what we see from the 49ers injury report to be guys that are going to play. And then they may be getting one of their stud defensive linemen, Javon Kinlaw, back for this game as well. Go figure, right? Our luck. Just like when we played the Giants the first time, they hadn't had Azeez Ojulari in ages. He comes back, he forces a fumble, and was problematic in the game. We're going to see somebody's guy that hasn't played in eons in Javon Kinlaw, more likely than not. Hooray! Yay! So we'll take a look at the injury report. We always on Tuesdays take a look at the playoff picture in the NFC. We'll do that. But before we do any of that, let's take a look at the injury situation for both teams heading into the Week 16 contest. So this is it. I mean, this is not a long list. This is not what we're used to. This is it. A short injury report. This is it. That's it. That's all you see. And I feel confident that everybody on this list stands for Chase Young. I can't speak for him, and I won't. Everybody on this list stands for Chase Young and Sadiq Charles. They're playing in the game on Sunday. I got no worries about any. Benjamin St. Juste is playing. He was almost a go on Sunday. He just needed another week. I didn't have a problem with that. You should be able to defend Isaiah Hodgins and Richie James and Darius Slayton without Benjamin St. Juste. If you don't have enough corner depth to do that, then you have a problem, which we have a problem. So you should be able to defend them without Benjamin St. Juste. Now, moving forward, we need Juice badly. So I expect all hands on deck, as Ron Rivera said yesterday, all hands on deck. And hopefully that includes Chase Young, but I'm not betting on it. So everything you see here, nothing to be concerned about. Sadiq Charles concussion, that's something to be concerned about. But we'll see what happens as the week progresses. I still don't think he's going to play again. And remember, his concussion was sustained during the week of practice last week. So I told you, I said, not only is he going to miss this game, he may miss next week's game because of when it occurred. Had it occurred in the game against the Giants, the week prior, or if it happened on a Sunday, he misses last week's game and then he probably plays this week. i.e. Montez Sweat. So I don't expect Sadiq Charles to go. And again, we don't know what's going to happen with Chase Young. But Cam Curl, ankle, he'll be fine. Antonio Gibson, foot, he'll be fine. Andrew Norwell, shoulder, he'll be fine. Benjamin St. Juste, ankle. I can't be as definitive there, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say he'll be fine. And Brian Robinson, full participant with the quad, he's going to be fine as well. So you go from us to the ops and the 49ers. Most of this list is bullshit, as we see every week with teams. When we play them and they got this long laundry list of injuries, there might be 2 or 3 dudes that don't play off of this thing. So let's go through it quickly. Jimmy Garoppolo shouldn't even be on this thing because he's out indefinitely. Same with Deebo Samuel. He's not playing in this game. He may be back, 2 weeks from now, but he has to be on the list because he's not on IR. So Jimmy Garoppolo, we know he's not playing. I don't think Kevin Givens, Kerry Hyder, or Deebo Samuel. I think the first 4 guys on this list aren't playing in the game. Okay, they have significant injuries, all 4 of them. After that, everybody on the list, as far as I'm concerned, is playing. Don't even need to mention Trent because he's resting. Eric Armstead, foot, ankle limited, he'll be playing. Christian McCaffrey, knee, he'll be playing. Tavarius Moore, he'll be playing with the knee injuries. Brock Purdy, oblique ribs. He had that on a short week on a Thursday night against Seattle and played. Trust me, with 11 days off to prepare, he'll be playing. Ambry Thomas, corner, ankle, he'll be playing. Travarius Ward, concussion, missed the game against Seattle. He'll be back for this game, limited. He'll be playing. And then you see the 2 fulls at the bottom. So don't expect any breaks here. Everybody's playing except for, and these are 2 guys that are big on that defensive line as depth pieces, but they're going to get a guy back in Javon Kinlaw. So even if they're missing those 2, they're getting a stud back, a first-round pick back. So the 49ers aren't hurting, and they'll be licking their chops come Sunday when Washington comes to town. So Taylor Heineke spoke at the podium today, and my patience is running thin with the quarterback position overall. I love Heineke. I want him here. I can't state that enough. I want him in a backup capacity. Heineke in a 2 to 4 week span is perfect. In limited quantities, in a concentrated dose, yeah, give it to me. I'll take it because I know it ain't gonna be non-alcoholic in a concentrated form. All right, I know I'm getting like 12% alcoholic content. Taylor Heineke, right? Woo! I got a buzz. When you spread that shit out over the life of a season, that shit becomes watered down to the point where it's non-alcoholic. That's where we're at now. We're running on fumes. This shit is non-alcoholic. Okay? I'm being a little over the top. It was light on Sunday. He wasn't terrible. It was light. It was Heine light. Okay? It wasn't Heine, non-alcoholic. All right. But I'm sick of the missed opportunity. I'm sick of scoring 17 points. I'm sick of scoring 16, 12. I'm sick of looking like the Denver Broncos. We're not the Denver Broncos. We're better than them on offense. They've proven that they can't score. But there are weeks where we look just as bad as they do. I'm not telling you we got more talent than them on offense. I'm just telling you, and truth be told, I'll take our guys against theirs. They got some studs, man. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler. I take my 3 against them. None of those guys have the credentials of a Terry McLaurin, not even Cortland Sutton. Jerry Jeudy can't stay healthy. I'll take my 3 dudes, but their offense looks just as bad as ours, or rather, our offense looks just as bad as theirs. And it shouldn't be that way. And it's not just the quarterback. It's a combination of play calling, offensive line, and the quarterback. But there are some plays, and this is where a quarterback changes things. There are some plays that, despite the play call, despite what the offensive line is doing, quarterback can make all the world difference. And we don't have that guy in the building. That's our problem. Our quarterbacks are system quarterbacks. They don't make other guys better. They don't take a play that could work, but probably shouldn't work and make it work. Not consistently enough, at least. Or the plays that should work, but you have to be quick. You got to be quick to make it work. They don't do that either. Heineke talked about a number of different things. One of the things that stuck out to me was he talked about the final sequence of plays in the red zone. And he said the Giants were playing cover 2. And he's like, when you play cover 2 down in the red zone, it's tough because there's really nowhere to go with the football, which is a lie, because if you attack the cover 2 defense with certain, when you have cover 2 in the red zone, that's when you flood the areas, right? You spread, you bring a bunch together and then you spread it out, and then you have somebody right in the middle sit down. And because there's so much traffic and there's so much for you to parse through, that guy gets lost and you get it to him immediately. But that's not what we do. We don't do that, right? We spread everybody out, empty set, and we got everybody running individual routes. You should have seen how garbage it was on the 4th down. I mean, you got Curtis running straight to the goal line, right? And just not Curtis, excuse me. Logan Thomas running straight to the goal line and just posting up. He's not open. You got, I want to say it was Jahan all the way to the right. And he's just kind of just running an aimless route. Like it's like he's not even trying to get open. It's almost like you got Terry running like a pseudo over route, but they've got bracket coverage. One guy's on the outside, another guy's on the inside. You got Curtis out wide, and there's the guy that was on his back was already out there with him. And then there was another receiver trying to run an over route, I believe. That might have been Jahan, actually, running an over route. And he was bracketed with a defender inside, and then there was a safety over the top. So there literally was nowhere to go. And because you made it so easy, there's nowhere to go. And so Heineke's like, yeah, you know, for the call that we had, cover 2, that's not a cover 2 beater. Well, isn't it Scott's job to figure out what is the most likely coverage we're going to get in this situation and come up with a play that's going to beat that coverage? Clearly, that's not what he did. Okay. Clearly, that is not what happened. So you have to ask yourself, what the hell are we doing? I don't know if you guys saw this, but I tweeted this out. I retweeted this. Scott Abraham of Channel 7 had a media scrum with Brian Robinson at his locker after the game. It's very common that, you know, reporters get these guys at their lockers and you hear from them. And he asked, and it wasn't just him. He just posted his on Twitter. But it's a media scrum. Number of questions were being lobbed at Brian Robinson, and the phrase play calling came up at least 3 or 4 times. And Brian Robinson, I like Brian Robinson a lot because he's a smart young man. He gets it. And he didn't allow the media to pigeonhole him. And he said, I'm not going to try to put this on anybody. You know, we all had our hand in this because y'all are trying to twist this and make this into, I'm calling out, you know, play calling. And I'm not. But he did say, you know, everybody not going to agree with all the play calls. And that was his way of saying, I didn't agree. Clearly, the man got the ball 4 times in a game where he was hot. Let that man cook. I mean, I'm talking about this man was as hot as you can get. Kobe Bryant blowing the fingers off hot. Michael Jordan shrugging his shoulders in the NBA Finals after 6 3-pointers against the Blazers hot. Like, what are we doing here, bro? Get the man to rock. There's a 3rd and 3 in this game. You guys know the play. Watching it back was comical. And it just reminded me of how much of a coward Ron Rivera was in this game. And I love me some Ron. I think Ron is the man for the job. I do. I don't necessarily love, you know, some of the guys that he has surrounding him, But and again, I don't think anybody that he has on his staff is inept, but they got to be better. Ron is usually aggressive. That's how he got the nickname Riverboat Ron. Ron, I thought, dictated to the rest of the team that we were going to be conservative, that we were going to play not to lose instead of to win. I think a great example of that is a 3rd and 3 in your own territory. If you give your coordinator the green light, if you got the balls, and I said this in the film breakdown, if you got the balls to run on 3rd and 3 with your receiver up inside, when your running back is averaging, and at this point, he was averaging 9 yards a carry, not 7, okay? When your running back is averaging 9 a pop, they can't tackle him. He's dragging 3 defenders on every single carry. If you got the gumption, the balls, the stones to hand the ball to a damn receiver on 3rd and 3, you best better be ready to go for it on 4th down if he don't get that shit. You best be ready to go for it on 4th down. If you're going to make a cockamamie decision to hand it off to a 195-pound receiver when you got a 225-pound bull in the backfield that they can't tackle, who would have drugged those dudes for an additional 2 or 3 yards where Curtis got tackled. If you got the balls to hand it to the wide receiver, Curtis Samuel, you better be prepared to go for it on 4th down. And he wasn't. Shame. Shame. We wanted to lose. Or rather, we didn't want to lose. We wanted to make sure that. No, I said it right. We wanted to lose. We were playing not to lose. I should say that. That's the way to say it. We were playing not to lose. We were playing like we wanted another tie. We were perfectly fine with tying again. Just, I don't want to lose the game. We were perfectly fine with not losing the game. They didn't want to win. They just didn't want to lose. If you think giving it to Curtis Samuel on 3rd and 3 over Brian Robinson, he's well on his way, if you would have fed him, to a career night. You need to wash your face. I'm talking the coldest, the ice. I need the Gatorade jug full with ice cubes. Get you some of that water. Wash your face and get your mind right. And then to double down on the mistake and punt. I was waiting for a fake punt. You just snap it to the up back, something. You got to be ready to go for it if you're going to do something like that. Heineke was asked about looking over his shoulder because the shit is really real. I listened to Ron Rivera's presser yesterday. I think most of us did. I don't think I ever heard the term. I saw something at the bottom of the ESPN crawl yesterday as I'm watching Monday Night Football. Something to the effect of Washington is sticking with Taylor Heineke for now. And then in parentheses, there's a quote from Ron Rivera that said, if Heineke can't win, Wentz is an option or something to that effect. And I'm like, I don't recall you saying that. You had a conversation. You told us that. You said you were sticking with him. You told us that. Now, he's left the window since Wentz was activated. He's always left the window open for Wentz to be the starter again at some point. He's never closed that door. Ever. That door has always been ajar. It's never been shut. But it's becoming more of a reality. And I know they watched the film. They watched the same film I watched. They had to feel like we left some shit on the field. And nope, the offensive line wasn't great. Hell, the play calling wasn't even all that great. But when we did have some shit, we left some of it on the field. And when you're scoring 12 points and you're struggling to finish off drives, can't leave shit on the field. When he was asked about watching over his shoulder, you know, he kind of gave the same answer. He understands time's running out, because the thing that he wasn't playing, look, this is the thing that Heineke Hive failed to mention or realize throughout this whole streak that he was on, you know, winning the first 5 out of 6 starts that he had this season and playing really well. The thing that they failed to realize, and look, winning is the most important stat. So that trumped everything. He wasn't playing well in a lot of these games. He didn't play well against Indianapolis. He played well at the end when we needed him the most. That's important, though. That counts for something. He didn't play well against the Vikings when we needed him. All right. I would have loved to have seen him get a chance with the football late in that game, but that was taken away from him. But there have been games where he wasn't great, but we still won. He wasn't great in that Packers game, especially in the first half. He was awful. But he played really well in the second half. And we won. So you were able to kind of sweep it under the rug. He didn't play great against the Texans, but we won. So you're able to sweep it under the rug. He didn't play great against the Atlanta Falcons. Hell, I even came out and said, I need him to be better. I don't want more of Heineke. I don't want him throwing it 37 times. The 27 he's throwing it is perfectly fine. More than enough. I need him to do more with those 27 attempts. Said that after the Falcons game. He didn't play well in that game, but we won. To me, he's had one start where he was from start to finish excellent, and he threw an interception in that game against the Eagles. But he was outstanding in that game. We haven't had enough of those performances. That's why we scored 26, which seems like 1,000,000 points for us. And he still left some shit on the field in that Eagles game. But that's nor here nor there. This is the last stand for Taylor Heineke as the starter. We've been here before. We've been here before. If he wins, he continues as the starter, whether he's the reason we win or not. If we lose, I think they're pulling the plug, whether he's the reason we lose or not. We'll see what happens. All right. Let's get to our look at the playoff picture. So, as you can see, Washington sits in the 7 hole. All right. So, if the playoffs started today, we'd be in barely, and we'd be playing the Minnesota Vikings. The importance of what you're looking at right now, and really, you really only need to concern yourself with the top 9 teams. Detroit here is at 9, right? So if we move this down to Detroit at 9, you only need to concern yourself with the top 9 teams. And really, the top 5 don't concern us. They have nothing to do with us, because we're not going to be impacted by anything they do standings wise. Now, they may play a team that we need them to beat or this, that, and the third. But as far as them losing a game or winning a game impacting us from a schedule, a record standpoint and where we sit, nah. So really it's Detroit, Seattle, Washington, and the Giants. All right. So there's a lot wrong with this picture now after the loss to the Giants. We were close to being above the negatives, right? We were close to being in the positives in the net points category. Clearly, you lose a game by 8. We were at -3. We're now at -11. We continue to struggle at home. We had scratched and clawed our way back to 3-3 on the season at home. We're now 3-4. And we got 2 out of 3 left at home. If we don't play better at home, that'll be the single biggest reason why we don't make it to the playoffs. We're 4-2 on the road. We have no problems going to somebody else's building. We're 4-2-1, excuse me, on the road. We got no problems going into somebody's building and being disrespectful. The problem is we don't respect our own shit. We don't care nothing about our stuff. You can come over to our house. You can put your feet up on our coffee table. You don't got to use any coasters. All right. You don't got to wipe your feet off when you step in our house. None of that. We don't give a shit about our stuff. But with that said, if we don't care about our stuff, you know we don't give a damn about your shit. So you know we coming over to your house and being real disrespectful because we don't even give a damn about our own shit. Hence the road versus home record. Part of the reason that we've struggled at home is because we haven't taken care of business in the division. Honestly, and I've said this many a times in the past, if you don't have a winning record within your division, you don't need to go nowhere but home. Honestly, looking at us and the Giants, both of us need to take our asses home. I feel like Debo at the end of Friday when Neil Long got in his face. He said, hey, you need to take your ass home. That's how I feel about New York and Washington. You 1-3-1 and you trying to go somewhere. You need to take your ass home. That's pathetic. We're 4-5-1. Both teams are 4-5-1. I mean, we're mirrors of one another. But we still got 3 games to play. And here's how we have a chance to make it in. Let's take a look at all the teams that are vying for a playoff spot. So we start with the Giants. The likelihood is the Giants are getting in. By beating us, they increase their likelihood to 88%. That they don't have to do much. Literally, they just need to win one more game, and they're probably going to make it to the playoffs. I'm going to just be honest with you. Win 1 out of their final 3 games, get to 9, and it's a pretty safe bet that they're in. It could be this weekend against the Vikings. The Vikings have been very shaky, especially at home lately. I don't think they're beating the Vikings, but we'll see, right? They're going to beat the Colts at home 2 weeks from now. They're going to win that game. And the Eagles won't need the Week 18 game. Trust me when I tell you this. The Eagles will be resting players. Just know Jalen Hurts has a sprained shoulder. He's not playing in Week 18, okay? They're going to play Gardner Minshew. Will Gardner Minshew and the backup bums that are on the field be enough? I don't know. I can't tell you that. I just know the Eagles won't be playing their starters. So the Giants are getting in the playoffs is what I'm telling you. They just need to win one of these 3 games. Really, that's what it all amounts to. Just win one more game. Washington can't leapfrog you. The Seahawks are going to lose again this week to the Chiefs on the road. And then the Seahawks have to play the Jets, who are fighting for their playoff. You know what? Let's just keep going. I don't have to talk about it. I can show you. Seahawks, another team fighting for a playoff spot. They're 7-7. They got to go to Kansas City this week. Good luck, Seattle. Ding! You're going to need it. After that, they come home, and the Jets are starving for a dub. They're fighting for their lives. They could easily beat the Jets. They could easily lose to the Jets. If Mike White is healthy by then, I could see the Jets beating them. And the Rams with Baker Mayfield, no longer a pushover. They're still fighting. So I don't think Seattle's going anywhere but home, personally. But we'll see. Don't count them out. They win 2 out of 3 of these. They make it interesting at 9-8. That's all you can do. This is the team that's scary right now. This is the one that everybody's talking about, the Detroit Lions. I think their ass is going to lose this week at Carolina. But then again, I thought they were going to lose to the Jets, and they should have lost that game, by the way. That's a hell of a play call on 4th and 1. 4th and 1. You see the shit they do? 4th and 1. We get 4th and 1. Yeah, we usually hand it off to Brian Robinson. But if we get in a situation like that, we'll probably empty the set. Taylor Heineke's back there jerking the ball off, patting the bitch like he's burping a baby instead of throwing it. They run a heavy play action fake, leak the tight end to the other side of the field, and he's wide ass open and runs for like a 47-yard touchdown with the game on the line. Are you effing kidding me? That's some play calling for your ass. I think they're going to lose to the Panthers, though. Panthers are a different animal at home. They lost to Pittsburgh this week, which scares me, did the Panthers, because they were at home and they had a chance against the Steelers team that didn't have their starting quarterback. But this Panthers team is dangerous. I wouldn't want to play them in Carolina. That's for damn sure. They beat Carolina. I'm going to just tell you this. They beat Carolina. The only other game they could lose is at Green Bay in week number 18. I'm going to tell you this right now. The Lions will not win out. The Lions, the best they're going to finish is 9-8. They're 7-7 right now. They will lose one of these final games. They might lose 2 of them. This is why I think we got a chance. If they beat Carolina, they're only going to lose one more game, and that's to Green Bay. I think they're going to lose to the Packers. That's not a definite. That's not a guarantee. But I like the way the Packers are playing right now. And trust me, Aaron Rodgers would love nothing more than to say, hey, if we ain't going, your funky ass show ain't going neither. Come on. Come with us. Nope. Bring your ass. Come on. He loved nothing more than to say, hey, Happy New Year. See y'all next year. So they lose in one of these 3 games. I think it's going to be the Green Bay. If they lose to Carolina, they're done. I think they could lose this week. They beat Carolina this week. They're going to beat the Bears. They're going to beat the Bears. And then it comes down to week 18. And we got to make that have meaning, right? Because if we lose to San Francisco and we don't beat Cleveland, then it's over. The best we can do is 8 wins at that point. It's over. So we got to win one of our next 2 just to even make week number 18 mean something against Dallas. And I'm just letting you know, Cleveland will not be a pushover. That's the equivalent of Detroit playing the Panthers. The difference is we at home, and that might be worse for us. We might have been better off taking our ass to Cleveland with the way we play at home. So that takes us to social media maneuvers. I'm a midnight marauder. Y'all know what it is. So let's get to the comment section and see what you guys have to say. And if you don't like what I had to say, challenge me. You don't agree with something, say it. We don't always agree here on this channel. You know, my guy, Burgundy Fly Guy, shout out to my guy, Burgundy Fly Guy, man. I used to always love his intro. He said, we're here where the admission is free. We don't always agree, but the admission is free, right? We're not always going to agree. But you here, though. We family. Let's talk about it. You don't have to see it the same way that I do. But that's what this is about, a running dialogue. So let's jump into it. Brandon Davis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Lou, this will, he won't, or won't he stuff with Chase is annoying. He's abandoning his brothers. Get a sports psychologist and play. I don't think this is like a mental block. I'm hearing this sports psychologist thing way too often. I don't think this is a mental block thing. I think this is, and I talked about this, the title of this video is very specific for a reason. Check your egos at the door. Football is the ultimate team sport. it takes 11 on each side of the ball to accomplish one goal. One guy doesn't do his job, the whole thing can go to hell in a handbasket. Each guy is relying on the guy next to him. Scott Turner has to put his ego aside, his call sheet and his we're in the red zone. This is what we're going to run, my concepts. He's not going to do it. He's stubborn. He's bullheaded. He's already said certain things that lead me to believe that this is what I do and it works. So we just need to continue to do it. I don't have a problem with Scott Turner's play calling from 20 to 20. I really, truly don't. There are some great play calls within the 20s, right? We move it with regularity. I guarantee you we're in the top half of the league in yards per game offensively. We don't have a problem getting first downs and moving the football. We're terrible on third downs, okay? And we're terrible in the red zone. What does that say? That speaks volumes about your offensive coordinator, because third downs and red zone are two of the biggest portions of the game. Two of the biggest. And we suck at both. Unless it's 3rd and 1. So Chase Young, I think his ego is in the way. Scott Turner needs to check his ego. I don't think Jack Del Rio has an ego problem. I just don't think he trusts his secondary. You can't blitz if you don't trust the guys on the back end to be able to cover. I don't blame him. As much as I'm like, hey, I want you to heat Daniel Jones up, he's like, bro, Bobby McCain is literally 1 or 2 steps from getting cooked and this thing going 66 and out of the gate. You sure you want me to blitz? I'm like, nah, I'd rather Daniel Jones have to go on an 18-play, 97-yard drive instead of a 6-play, 87-yard drive with a 66-yard touchdown. You're right. Never mind. Just keep rushing 4. But that sucks. Because when 4 ain't hitting and they double team in 93 and 94, you just get one-on-ones on the outside. And again, this used to be a joke. Now I stopped making the joke because they were actually doing something, but now it's a joke again. Are you really going to get pressure with Casey Toohill and James Smith-Williams? The answer is no, you're not. You're not. You got a better chance with F.A., Montez. It'd be nice to have Chase Young. And at this point now, I don't want to hear about conditioning or, I just need one more week. So let me explain the Chase situation to y'all. I've been waiting to do this. I don't know how many of y'all follow the NBA, but there was a situation very similar to this in the NBA. It happened with the San Antonio Spurs and Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard was this all-star, player, NBA Finals MVP, well on his way to being a Hall of Fame caliber player. And the Spurs just have this thing about them, this knack for finding guys like Kawhi and making sure that they never suck. They go from David Robinson and Avery Johnson to Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan, to Kawhi Leonard. And they were supposed to still be good with Kawhi Leonard. But then Kawhi Leonard gets hurt, right? And the Spurs medical staff says to Greg Popovich and the rest of the staff, hey, he good. He can play. That's on him. Y'all got to talk to Kawhi. But medically, he's fine. And Kawhi's like, bro, I'm not fine. I'm telling y'all, I don't feel right. And the staff is like, look, I'm just telling you what the x-rays and the MRI and all of the images say. Structurally, everything's intact. You look good. You may not feel fine, I'm just telling you, hey, y'all, he's fine. He can play. And the Spurs were like, come on, Kawhi, we need you, bro. Come on, we need you. We're dying out here. Come on. So he plays and he gets hurt. And he's like, see, I told y'all. And from that point on, there was a fracture and it could not be repaired. And he wanted out and he got traded. This is a very similar situation, except Washington wasn't pushing him initially, right? They weren't pushing him. They're like, hey, this guy's the future. We're not worried. Take all the time you need. It's easy to do that when you're winning. Ron even said it. It's easy when you've won 5 out of 6. You're comfortably in the playoffs, so you're right there. You're feeling good. Yeah, Chase, take all the time you want, man. You're fine. We're good over here. When you're getting sacks and you're getting pressure, Chase, bro, don't worry about it, okay? But when that well dries up and they start double teaming 94 and 95, 94 and 93, and all of a sudden nobody's hitting home, you're thinking to yourself, damn, it would be good to have 99 now, wouldn't it? Now Ron's tone has changed because he thought Chase was going to play in week 10 versus Philadelphia. Then he thought, probably don't want him playing on turf against Houston. Nah, we won't do that this week. Yeah, week 12 against Atlanta. This is a good one. Now Chase is sick all of a sudden. He can't go. Ron was really disappointed then. It was wet. It was nasty. Probably not the best environment for Chase to make his debut anyway. What are we worried about? Week 13. Yeah, that sounds real nice. But that's MetLife. That's that turf that hurts everybody. Nah, we got the bye week anyway. What are we tripping about? He'll be back after the bye. He's at home. It's a big game. Yeah. And then he's not. And then Chase starts talking about football doesn't define me. And that should have been a clue to me. Hey, this brother ain't playing this weekend. He knows backlash is coming. He's pretty much putting up the defense mechanisms and the walls because he knows I ain't playing this week neither. I need more conditioning. How much conditioning do you need, brother? Because he got looked at again by Dr. James Andrews on Sunday. James Andrews said, hey, this is the same shit I looked at the last time when I told y'all 2 weeks ago. The brother's fine. If you want to play, you can play. Brother's fine. I already told y'all that. Shit looks good. Same shit I looked at 2 weeks ago. It's the same shit. He's fine. So now we go back to Chase and we say, bro, what is the problem? I don't know what the problem is. I wish I could tell you. I've given you my theory already. I don't know if I told you guys this. I think I said this on the show last night, which a lot of you weren't there for that. So I'll say it again tonight. This is what I think the problem is with Chase. Chase wasn't good last season prior to the injury. Okay? He wasn't. Any player under the age of 33 can tell you all they want until their face turns blue. I don't listen to social media. I don't listen to none of that stuff anyway, so I don't care. You're lying. If you're 24, if you're 25, if you're 26, you live on social media. Please spare me. Okay? For every one dude that doesn't care about social media, there's 150 players that do. So the ratio is 150 to 1. Players that care to players that don't. Chase is one of those dudes that cares about social media. May not post a whole hell of a lot, but trust me, he sees shit. And the shit he don't see, somebody brings it to his doorstep and makes sure he sees it. He's aware. Trust me. He knew what people were saying about him last year and people calling him a bust and this, that, and the third. And so in his mind, he's like, I'm not coming back until I can be the predator. Until I am 110% confident in my damn knee and what I can do. If I have the slightest bit of doubt, I'm not getting out there. You know why? Because they were talking shit about me when I was perfectly healthy. You think they're going to give me the benefit of the doubt because I'm coming off of an injury and I haven't played a game in over a year? You think they care about that? They're just going to say that I stink. I ain't going out like that. So I'll play when I'm ready. And I ain't ready yet. I need more conditioning. Okay. That's selfish to me. Because even if you're not making plays, let the people talk. Your presence on the field changes the way teams are going to attack us. And if you can get out there and give us 10 to 12 snaps, you don't need tremendous conditioning for that. But again, it's easy to say, hey, 10 to 12 snaps. You get out there and then the team says, hey, Chase Young in the game. Let's go hurry up so his ass can't get off the field. Now your little 10 to 12 snaps, that shit's out the window because he just got 6 in a row just now. So maybe the conditioning is a piece that needs to be solved, right? You don't know. We don't dictate on defense how many snaps Chase Young gets. The offense dictates that. Chase Young ass on the field for a 3rd down and 7, and they convert. They say, hey, tempo. Get up on the line. Now Chase Young ass is in for another snap. They were going to take him out. Then they run the ball. Then after they run the ball, they get up. Now they run another damn play. Throw a slant. Now it's 3rd and 1. They run it again, get a 1st down. They go again. Now Chase Young has been on the field for 5 straight snaps. What happened in 10 to 12? Either you're going to call a timeout or we got his ass trapped in the game. What you going to do? You going to try to run him off the field? Risk a 5-yard penalty? I mean, you could. Good luck. So maybe he does need to be in condition to play just in case. You never know. I'm just telling you, it feels like an attempt for Chase Young to save himself. But this is bigger than you, bro. This is about the team. You being out on the field impacts everybody. How teams game plan against us. It changes everything. Even if you're not yourself, they don't know what you are. They're thinking about Chase Young, rookie season, defensive rookie of the year. You might not be that guy till next year. They don't know that. So they have to prepare like you are until they find out. Maybe they see after 2 games, hey, Chase ain't shit right now. Then they start treating him like James Smith-Williams. But initially, they got to treat you like Chase Young until otherwise notified. Check your egos at the door. This ain't about you. Scott, this ain't about your playbook. This ain't about your scheme. Check your egos at the door. This is about the team. Y'all want to win? Y'all want to play extra football? Or do y'all want to be on the couch with us watching everybody else play football? I don't know. We're going to find out. Chase Young Burner, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, what's the plan at QB realistically? Don't want to trade for another mid QB. And other than CJ and Bryce, don't want a QB in the draft. How season? That's the dilemma we face. I don't really want to have that discussion right now because I'm trying to play bonus football. Talking about a quarterback right now means you pretty much punting on the rest of this season, and I ain't doing that. We got plenty of time. Trust me, bro. We got plenty of time to talk about what we're going to do with quarterback. All right. Either we making the playoffs or we not making the playoffs. One way or the other, by mid-January, we're probably going to be in the offseason. Whether we bounced in the first round, we make it to the first round, win a game, or we don't make it to the playoffs at all. Either way, somewhere in January, no later than late to early February, we'll be into the offseason. We got plenty of time to talk about quarterback. And I got a lot of thoughts, and I've already given you some of them. I got a lot of thoughts on what's going to happen at quarterback, but we'll save that until then. But I understand. That's a real conversation. And I brought it up last week on the show. We had a whole show talking about that. The lead story was us talking about quarterback. Miko the Don, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, offense. It seems as Brian Robinson wants the ball more and the play calling is becoming more of a problem. How come we don't put two backs in the backfield together or put Kurt and Sam in the backfield and go 5 wide off of that? So they do that. A lot of times when we go 5 wide, it's a running back in the game, but it's usually Antonio Gibson. So, and they've done the two backs, thing on the field. It's usually not traditional backs. It's usually Gibson and Curtis, or it's Robinson and Curtis Samuel. But they do two backs all the time. It's the biggest problem is they want Antonio Gibson involved. My thing is they should be using him like they don't use him as a receiver enough, like a real receiver, not these little underneath routes. I'm talking about like a real, like down the field. A linebacker's checking this man. Remember the corner route he ran against Jacksonville? Got down to like the 4-yard line that set up the Curtis Samuel touchdown, the very first touchdown of the season. Remember the touchdown he caught against the Packers in the back of the end? Like, that's the shit we should be doing with Antonio Gibson, not Antonio Gibson running a 2-yard route or Antonio leaking into the flats and throwing him a flare route. Not Antonio right out of the backfield and running straight like a little angle route to the flats. We should actually be using Antonio Gibson as a threat as a receiver, and we don't. Like, this is part of the problem I have with Scott Turner. Some of this shit is so simplistic. Other parts are really complex for no reason. And you're like, bro, make it make sense. So you want him on the field. To me, there's enough opportunities to get him on the field in a receiver capacity to where you don't have to take carries away from Brian Robinson and still get Antonio Gibson his 5 to 7 carries in the game. Because that's where we at with him now. He don't got to get 11 or 12 carries no more. We over that shit. Now it's like, hey, B-Rob better get his 15 to 20 carries. He got 12. I told you Antonio Gibson returning kickoffs, and he's dynamic back there. Catch it 3 or 4 times, run it 3 or 4 times. That's what I want from Antonio Gibson. The weapon. That's what he's supposed to be. The weapon. That knife ain't sharp. The can opener don't work. The screwdriver, the bit is so trash it don't even fit in most grooves. What kind of a Swiss Army knife is this? Well, it ain't his fault. It's Scott's fault. Brian Robinson needs to touch it more. Period. End of discussion. Trevor Patch, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Trev, writes, Lou, what's up, Trev? I've seen nothing but clamor for Howell. People need to let that man sit and bake. You want to turn him into seeing ghosts like Darnold? Yeah, go ahead and put him out there against top 3 defenses with a hollow line. Look, people could clamor for Howell all they want. Those are the people that don't understand how the business of football works, okay? Those are people that are just fans. They watch for entertainment purposes, but they don't really truly understand what this is about. You have 53 men in a locker room, all in it for one purpose, to win a Super Bowl, okay? The NFC has been wide open like this never before, ever, okay? I can't say that in 1996 it wasn't open like this, but it wasn't. Packers were good. The Cowboys were good. 49ers were probably good. But I throw in any random year, 2006, the league could have been wide open. It probably wasn't. The Saints were probably exceptional. I don't know. I'm just telling you, every year there's some Hall of Fame quarterback, future Hall of Fame quarterback that is 13-3. Now with 17 games, 13-4. For years, it was Drew Brees, it was Eli Manning, it was Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre. Now it's nobody. There's Tom Brady just got here. He sucks this year. His team stinks. That's the only guy. There was a tweet I saw today that said quarterbacks currently in the NFC playoffs. 1 seed, Jalen Hurts, 2nd round pick. 2 seed, Kirk Cousins, 4th round pick. 3 seed, 49ers, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, 7th round pick. 4 seed, Tom Brady, 6th round pick. 5th seed, Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, 3rd or 4th round pick. I can't remember if he was a 3rd or 4th round pick. I think he was a 4th round pick, but one of the two. 6th seed, Daniel Jones, highest drafted quarterback in the NFC. He was the 5th overall pick, 5th or 6th overall pick by the Giants. And Washington Commanders, 7th seed, Taylor Heineke, undrafted. That's the state of the NFC in the quarterback position. You telling me you don't have a chance with that cast of characters at quarterback? Now, we probably don't, because our quarterback situation isn't good enough. And our defense isn't elite enough to carry the team when the offense isn't pulling their weight. However, why can't we I just want to get in. I just want to get in, because once you get in, all bets are off. You just got to beat a team once. They just got to have a bad night. That's it. One bad game and you can advance. This ain't a series. Those people asking for Sam Howell don't understand that those other guys in the locker room don't give a shit about the future at the quarterback position. Those guys are trying to win now. Sam Howell ain't winning you shit now. And they say, well, how do you know? You don't know until you put him in. But history shows that young quarterbacks come in this league and they struggle. Don't look at what Brock Purdy is doing and say, well, Brock Purdy is doing it. Brock Purdy plays for one of the greatest offensive minds in the NFL right now, in Kyle Shanahan. That is a well-coached, well-oiled machine out there. With Christian McCaffrey, with a coordinator or a head coach, play caller, call him whatever you want, that knows how to utilize him. With Deebo Samuel, all right, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, and others. All he's got to do is follow directions and he'll be fine. Can't say the same thing for Washington. So you can't compare the two. Bottom line is, you play the guy that gives you the best chance to win. Sam Howell ain't it right now. He's an unknown commodity. I watched this man throw one of the worst picks you can throw in preseason football. Like, that's not the guy you put in now with the season on the line. So for those are the people, we don't have anything to talk about. If we're talking and in the first 3 sentences, you say, hey, man, I think they should play Sam Howell, conversation's done. I'm terminating the conversation. Hey, man, it was nice meeting you, bro. Hey, you stay safe now. All right, be easy. We done. I ain't got nothing else for you. Miko the Don, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, defense. How come when our D-line has an off game, Jack doesn't help them by either sending or disguising some looks? Also, can we stop playing soft on 5-yard outs and get a hand on the wide receiver? Miko the Don, that's music to my ears. I'm watching the film and I'm saying the same thing. I get it. You don't want Darius Slayton can run. He's a fast dude. I get it. Danny Johnson doesn't want to come up and get cooked and toasted. I get it. And I'm not mad at Danny for that. Keep everything in front of you, because the Giants aren't an explosive offense. The last thing you want to do. Did the Giants take one deep shot in the game? One. I don't think they threw a pass that went 15 yards in the air in the whole game. I'm not bullshitting you. I don't think a pass traveled over 15 yards in the game. Incomplete or complete. Maybe Daniel Jones throwing it away had a pass that traveled like 17 yards in the air when he threw it away. you don't want to give up anything, right? So you want to keep everything in front of you. But the relative ease at which they could throw a 5-yard speed cut, a 5-yard stop, it's ridiculous. And my thing was, when Jack did decide to blitz, why are we playing off so far? If you know that we're blitzing, you don't want to give Daniel Jones anywhere where he feels comfortable releasing the ball, right? Too. Get in the guy's face, disrupt the timing of the route, make Daniel Jones, come off of a receiver, and now you got a chance to sack him. You know Daniel Jones isn't comfortable when you blitz him. But when you give him an easy place to go with the football, he's going to stand in there confidently and deliver the football, and that's what he did. I thought there were some things Jack could have done. This is the thing that frustrates me, right? The first possession, the Giants made it abundantly clear what the game plan was. They sent a message. You watched the film, and they sent a message. Not 93, not 94. 95, 96, 90, they can all have one-on-one matchups. We don't give a shit. We are not afraid of them. It won't be 93, and it won't be 94. We'll double his ass. We'll triple him. We'll chip with it back on him. Hey, center, you ain't got no work? Go find work with one of these big boys in the middle. They won't have it. That was the adjustment for them. It won't be 93. It won't be 94. The counter to that is to overload one side of the field. And you got to be careful, because if you do that, they get wind of it. Daniel Jones can just tuck it and run. Right? Like but make them make that adjustment. Make them counter what we're doing. Right? Don't do it to the point where they're able to counter it, or you do it 2 or 3 times and then they see it. And when they see it, you think their reaction is going to be, hey, let's run straight at this on the opposite side where there's only one defender. And that's when you stunt, or right at the snap, you have your guy shift over, something to that effect. And now it kills everything. Like, you got to play chess. And I feel like Jack be playing checkers, man. I'm watching these young defensive minds in the league. They say, oh, yeah, you want to double team my stud defensive tackle? All right, fine. I'm going to put 3 guys to one side of the line, force you to give me one-on-ones. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my defensive end, widen him a bit, right? Or put him in the middle of the 2 guys on the other side and force y'all to block him together. Or I'm going to take a wide approach here. I'm going to blitz my linebacker, force him, and now it's an automatic one-on-one. You can't double team. Now Aaron Donald is coming free. Now Chris Jones is coming free. Now Quentin Williams is coming free. I see coordinators scheme up ways to ensure that their best defensive tackles get one-on-one. And we just continue to try to rush, twist. We try to have these games up front. And the Giants were ready for them shits. They made the adjustment. We didn't. They waited for those twisted stunts. They had 3 dudes set up a wall. Go ahead, loop around. I dare you. Center's waiting on it like a damn bouncer. Tackle on the other side like, hey, don't bring that shit over here. And the guard waiting like, hey, whatever y'all don't clean up, I'm right here. I got your back. Meanwhile, Duran on the other side, think he about to beat the guard. Here comes Saquon Barkley on the way out. Boop! Take a little shoulder, man. Chill out. There was never an adjustment made. We never said, hey, here's how we're going to get our guy one-on-one. Again, all of that is in the film breakdown. J. Cool, stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB. Greatly appreciate you. J. Cool, y'all know what to do. Show J. Cool some love. Open your arms wide. Embrace him. Welcome him to the squad. Welcome aboard, J. Cool. All right. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, need you in the media room tomorrow asking Scott these questions. Why is B-Rob running 0 times in 3 red zone trips? Why no ISO on the big boys? We need answers. I wish I was in the room. I wish I could get a couple questions on them. and see what he says. But obviously, I'm not in the room. And I don't, our guys, look, part of being a member of the media is you're not looking to show a guy up. You want to ask the tough questions, but you also have to remember that if you burn bridges, you don't get shit. Like, you can't attack a guy at the podium and then expect him to want to give you something off the record, or you got a little story you trying to write, you need a little sound bite, a little clip from, he ain't giving you nothing. Right? So you got to be mindful of those things so they can't get down and dirty like I would, because I don't care about none of that. I don't work for ESPN. I don't work for a publication. I don't have to worry about, are you going to give me an exclusive? Are you going to give me a quote? If I call you, are you going to talk to me? I don't care nothing about that. I care about this team winning. That's what I care about. So I want answers, right? And look, you don't owe me anything. You don't have to tell me anything. I just want to bring it to your attention. You don't have to answer me. You could try to dismiss me and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I just want to get you thinking. I just need it out there. Because some of this stuff, I would think that it would be common sense and that people wouldn't have to tell you this, but I don't think he's thought of some of this stuff. And he said this numerous times, and I believe him. In the game, he's not aware, right? Like, we're at home, we're taking it all in. We don't have as much going on. We're just kind of focused on the game. He's got a lot of moving parts that he has to figure out. And he's got to do all of this within the first, 25 seconds of the play clock. Get the play call in, see what coverage they're in, talk about any things that you might want to, discuss before the headset goes out. And so I'm pretty sure there's a guy charting, the amount of touches this guy has. That I don't know if he's really in sync and in tune with that, but you have to know. And a lot of times he said, I didn't even realize he didn't have a touch or he didn't have a target. I don't think he understands that. And that goes to show you that he's not concerned with players. He's concerned with his scheme. Because he's always quick to tell you the play dictates where the ball go. No. You think the Vikings say, well, Justin Jefferson didn't get involved today because the defense took him away, so we just had to go somewhere else. You think that's how it works in Minnesota? You think the Cincinnati Bengals say, well, the Buccaneers took Jamar Chase away today, so we just couldn't really get him targets today. That's how it goes sometimes. No, it's not how it goes. You know why? Because I control if my guy gets the ball or not. I control that. If I want my guy touching the rock, I will devise a way that my guy touches the football. It ain't a damn thing you can do to stop me, because you can't run in the backfield and stop me from handing it to him. You can't come up to the line of scrimmage and stop me from throwing a slant to him. If I trust my guy, you can try to press him at the line of scrimmage. If I trust my guy to win, he gonna win this slant and I'm gonna get it to him. So that's the biggest crock of BS I've heard is, defense dictated that he didn't get the ball this week. It happens that way sometimes. No, you dictate who gets the football. There are going to be certain plays where you dial it up for a guy and they take it away and somebody else may get it. Sure. But if I go into a snap saying, hey, we getting it to Terry on this play, Terry McLaurin's getting the ball on this play. Okay. I'll make sure of it. We've seen when Scott wants to get a guy. What did I tell y'all that they were going to do with Jahan? The week after he didn't have a single target against the Atlanta Falcons. Well, it was the Houston Texans. I said, I guarantee you against the Giants, the man will touch the football on the first possession. If not, within the first two possessions. The man had 2 touches on the first possession and another one on the second possession. Don't tell me you can't get him the football. Don't tell me you can't get a guy the ball. That's garbage. But that's because Scott's not thinking in terms of players. He's not thinking in terms of matchups. He's thinking about my scheme. That's the best play callers have a combination of the two. Yep, scheme is important. You have to have some kind of philosophical belief, right? something that you are looking to accomplish, that's important. But what you also have to take into consideration is, what matchups can I create? How can I get my guy in a position that's advantageous? How can I get the tight ends haven't done anything? How can I get Logan Thomas involved? Red zone. We're struggling. He's struggling. He's tall. This is perfect. Let's make it happen. He don't think in those terms. Hey, Jahan's one of the best route runners on the team, one of the better route runners in the league. You know what? He'd be golden in the red zone. Let's isolate him one-on-one. Everybody else to the left. Jahan, you're by yourself to the right. One-on-one with a corner. Let's put you to work. See if that corner can keep up. He doesn't look at it in terms of matchups. He's like, okay, we're at the 6-yard line. I got the perfect play. No, you don't have the perfect play. You don't have the perfect play for the 6-yard line. Miko the Don, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you. My guy Miko writes, also, where's the Gibby plays? It feels like Gibby doesn't get no looks from for him. Just to dump off in the flats and run every 5. Exact. I just talked about that. It's like you're here. It's like we have some type of telepathy or something. I just talked about that. Like what happened to Antonio Gibson, the weapon? I don't want to hear about we have a lot of guys to get. The Bengals have a lot of guys to get the football to. They got Jamar Chase. They have T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, and I don't know if you've been paying attention, but Hayden Hurst has turned into a big weapon for them at tight end. They got all these weapons to get the football to every week. And you know what? They managed to do it. They managed to make sure everybody gets some touches. And they even sprinkle in some Samaj P. Ryan. Like, I'm not really trying to hear the whole, man, and I'm not trying to hear a lot of that stuff we talking about. It's just jibber jabber, man. It's a whole bunch of Charlie Brown in my ear. Wah, 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 wah. I ain't trying to hear that mess, man. If you really want to get Antonio Gibson the football, you can. Every time he steps on the field and there's a linebacker lined up across him, he's got a favorable matchup. Isolate him and get him the football. All it takes is one simple thing to figure out if it's man or zone. Antonio Gibson comes in, you got an empty set, send him in motion. They bump coverage, okay, it's zone. If they don't, if a guy travels with him, it's man, I'm working Antonio Gibson on whatever route he's running. It's not hard. But we make everything hard, man. That's what we do in Washington. We make everything harder. This is why playoff football is so much fun for me, because I see creative minds at work utilizing the guys that they have and the weapons that they have and getting the most out of them. And I clamor for that. I clamor for that. Because we got all this stuff and we got a dude that doesn't really understand. And again, it's not the entire field. We move the ball down the field. It's when it's third down, and it's when it's in the red zone that he just doesn't understand. This is when Gibson is a weapon. You're at the 11. Antonio Gibson is a problem right now. You're at the 17-yard line. Antonio Gibson is a problem. There's a linebacker covering him right now. Nah, we want to run mesh concepts underneath. Got to run those meshes. Yep. Got to have Terry running across the field and Logan Thomas running across the field. Got to have that mesh concept. Okay. How's that working out for us? How's the old mesh concept working for us? Not very well the last time I checked. But yet we run that shit 15 times every single week. Quentin Ruiz. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Quentin Ruiz writes, 49ers defense about to destroy TH4. It could happen. It could happen. It could happen. All right. Got a super chat here from Christopher McLaughlin. First of all, thank you for your generosity, Chris, man. I can't thank you enough, man. Really, truly do appreciate you. My guy, Chris, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. And once again, thank you for your generous donation. Who writes, "Hey, Lou, thanks for all you've done for the squad this year. A small token of appreciation for you and the family for the holidays, man. I appreciate that. These go a long way. I hope you know that. How do you expect this offense to score double-digit points on Saturday with subpar QB play, poor execution in the red zone, and playing a better defense?" That's a great question. Again, the NFL is a week-to-week league. And so while we looked awful at times, again, let me stress this to you. The third quarter drive, the first time we touched it in the third quarter, down 14-3, was the best drive of the season for the Commanders. Heineke was 5 of 5. We had the 15-yard reverse to De'Ami Brown. Brian Robinson did not touch it a single time on that drive. And it was the cleanest drive I've seen from this team all season long. And Scott Turner had the Giants guessing. He had them off balance. It's the shit I've been asking for all season long. The thing I've been clamoring for during this streak is I want more out of play action. I want more out of boots. Because if you're running it as effectively as we are, or at a bare minimum, even if you're not having the effectiveness, the sheer amount of times that we're running it forces you to respect what we're doing. The Giants had no choice. They were giving up 7, 8 a pop. They had no choice but to respect the run, but to come down and bite down on play action fake. So you should be using that to your advantage. And it took until we were down 14-3 for Scott Turner to say, all right, enough is enough. And then Terry runs a 10-yard stop. That shit's been there all game. They are scared to death of Terry getting behind them. That shit's been there all day. We finally throw a 10-yard stop to Terry. Then you come back, heavy play action fake, and you throw a deep out to Terry, right? A little deep out. Right? It actually was like, it was more like a little, it's almost like a deep, it was like a deep jerk route almost, right? And it's for like 15. And this drive was the worst field position we had all night at the 8-yard line. And in 2 plays, we out to the 40-yard line. All right. We run the reverse to De'Ami. He gets 15. We're at the Giants 45 in 3 plays. Then we get a false start penalty on Jahan Dotson. It's 1st and 15. We're back to midfield. We throw a screen to Terry on 1st and 15. And I swear to you, if Terry just runs straight and trusts that Logan Thomas is going to block that defender, it might go for 6. If not, it's a much bigger game than what it ultimately was. But still, you're 1st and 15 and you end up getting a first down. That shit don't happen. We don't do that. He comes back after that, and we, if I'm not mistaken, run a bootleg to Jahan. Wide ass open. Kayvon Thibodeau has to respect that. We running the ball down their throat. And then you come back and you throw the touchdown to Jahan. Heineke 5 of 5. 77 yards on the drive. 5 of 5. De'Ami Brown, 1 run, 15 yards, touchdown. We scored in 6 plays. When do we do that? We don't. It was a thing of beauty. We're capable of doing that all the time. And I'm not telling you to abandon the run. I'm just telling you, those are the types of plays we can get to off of the run, and we don't. Why is that? Why do we have to be down 14-3 for you to do that? I don't understand. I'm telling you this. I brought that drive up, and you see I committed it damn near to memory. I'm bringing that drive because that could be what happens against San Francisco. next week. We could actually play like we did against Philadelphia, against San Francisco. This is a week-to-week league. You look like crap one week, and the next week, you look like a totally different team. I don't know what Washington team is going to show up. I just know this, they're going to play hard. I never question this team's heart or ability or want to, or ability to go out and have the intestinal fortitude necessary to put up a fight. I'll never question that with this team. Never. Not a Ron Rivera coach team. He's never given me a reason to. My question is, are we going to execute? Are we going to turn the football over? Are we going to take advantage of opportunities that are presented to us? These are the questions I have on a weekly basis. Are we going to kill ourselves with penalties? Are we going to miss throws to open receivers? Are we going to stand there and pat the ball and not get rid of it? Are we going to block this week? Is the offensive line going to actually be a sieve, or are they going to do their jobs? These are questions that we have on a weekly basis. Playing hard isn't one of them. So if you go out, you play hard, you do the things that you're capable of doing, we'll have a chance against San Francisco. But we're going to have to play better than we did against the Giants, or we won't. Commando, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, we need a good QB and O-line, and we scoring 30 a game. Remember, that was the conversation before the season started. I said, I feel foolish for saying this now. I mean, I couldn't have projected that. I thought the offensive line was the one thing we could count on. I thought that was the one thing that was ironclad. No matter what injuries we sustained, as long as we had, the tackles for the most part. And we've had our tackles, whether it's been Cornelius Lucas filling in or Sam Cosmi earlier. We've had tackles in Charles Leno, knock on wood. We've been rock solid, but I thought the offensive line would be fine. And I said, as long as the offensive line is fine, we've upgraded the quarterback position with Wentz. We saw that in the first 2 weeks. The man had seven touchdown passes in 2 weeks. He had 4 in week 1, 3 in week 2. Have we had a game since where any quarterback on this team has had 3 touchdown passes in a game? I'm pretty sure the answer is no. I'm pretty sure. I know that we haven't had any other game with 4 touchdown passes because we haven't even scored 8 points again this season. Hell, 27 for that matter, which is what Wentz did in week 2 versus Detroit. I think our 3 biggest outputs this season are 28, 27, and 26. Everything else is 12. It's 8. It's 12 again. 17. 17 again. 17 again. 12 again. So 23 against Houston, that was a lot. I wish it was just as simple as get a QB and an O-line, but they don't grow on trees. You just, there's a quarterback, and just pick him up and you're off and running. If that were the case, everybody'd have a good quarterback. So we'll see what happens. DC Fan 88, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for blessing the program. Really do appreciate you as well. DC Fan 88 writes, sup, Lou? Sup, DC Fan? Once again, thank you. I went to the game with my son and didn't get it done. It was a good experience. If we make to the playoffs or not, I'm convinced we are a quarterback away. Merry Christmas, brother, and thanks for making my night entertaining. Hey, I appreciate you, DC Fan 88. Sucks that you weren't able to get it done, but I'm glad your son got to experience the game. And it was live. I wish he would have seen a win, but all in all, it was a good night for football, and went down to the wire. You saw a good game. Just wish we were on the right side of it. But a quarterback will go a long way in helping this team. I can tell you that much without a doubt. Let's see. JB Johnson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy JB Johnson writes, what up, Lou? Seems like Heineke and Scott are trying to convince Ron to make him the legit starter. He's not doing none of the things that got him here. I kind of feel where you're coming from on that, because there are times where I'm like, hey, Heineke, bro, I need you to sell out. That run for the touchdown that he could have had where he trips over his own feet, I don't think he was ever preparing to do the Heineke dive into the end zone, and he really didn't need to. A simple plant and cut back in, or spin or anything like that, Kayvon Thibodeau was making a hard dash to that pylon because he knew that's where Heineke wanted to go. Everybody saw the Heineke dive. He knew that's where he wanted to go. All he had to do was stick his foot in the ground and ease on by like he was Michael Jackson on the Wiz. Ease on down the road. That's all he had to do was ease on by. Spin anything. He was in. He tripped over his own damn foot, but I don't think he was ever going to sell out. He's more concerned with not getting hurt than being the Taylor Heineke. Now, I will say he there were times where he sold out, where there was a play where he ran boot and he ended up making it a naked and he just took off. And Kayvon Thibodeau tracked him down. He could have ran out of bounds on that play. He could have went down. He didn't. He jumped over a dude. Kayvon Thibodeau spilled him, and he got up and hit him with a first down. Like he was more willing to sell out on Sunday night. And he said it today in the presser. I need to run more. Like against the Giants was his highest rush total of the season. I don't even think, I'm curious to see what that number. I don't think it was any more than 50 some odd yards. If it was that, that's on the high side. I think he was probably more likely in the 40s, which that shouldn't be his. The man ran for almost 100 yards against Green Bay last year. Like that's his highest total shouldn't be in the 40s, right? That shouldn't be something that we're talking about and discussing. But I think that's what it was. Let me check and see. Heineke, 33 yards on 3 carries. Like that shouldn't be his highest rush total of the year. He's better than that. But that just goes to show you he really hasn't been willing to run because he's had opportunities. All right. JB Johnson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, JB Johnson. Double up. Who writes, Terry not running the ball anymore. That's Carson Terry not being able to step up in the pocket. That's Carson. Difference is Carson throws touchdowns. Says Terry not running the ball anymore. That's Carson. Terry not being able to step up in the pocket. That's Carson. Difference is Carson throws touchdowns. That's a convoluted comment, but I'm just going to say this. Carson Wentz is a lot of things. My biggest problem with Carson Wentz, I've told you guys this from Jump Street. After I watched him the first few weeks of the season, I said, I don't know who that is, but that's not the Carson Wentz I watched in Philadelphia or even Indianapolis last year. The Carson I know, mobile, able to create off schedule, make things happen with his legs when the play breaks down, able to extend with his legs to throw the football. That guy didn't exist here in Washington for whatever reason. Okay. That's a problem behind this offensive line. Now, the assumption was Heineke was going to come in and he was going to use his legs. He really hasn't. So if he's not going to use his legs and he's not going to be the anti-Carson Wentz, the only other thing that he provided that Wentz didn't was the familiarity of the offense, meaning he should be able to go through his progressions, know where the football is going to go and get rid of it quicker. And he has that under his belt. But then you see plays against the Giants and plays this season where he doesn't get rid of the football. He takes a stupid sack, knocks us out of field goal range. He did it in the game on Sunday. First possession of the game. You can't take a sack there. You can't. Do something with the ball. Check it down. Run. Do something. Don't take a sack. Don't take a sack. He did it in the first game against the Giants. Knocked us out of field goal range. Don't take a sack. That's the shit Carson Wentz is supposed to be doing, not you. You're supposed to be able to dip and dodge out of there and take off. But he's not really looking for those lanes. He's not looking to get rid of the football. So I feel you on he's not doing the things that made him a fan favorite. Like the stuff that we were like, yo, this Heineke dude, he's different. He's selling out. He's playing like there's no tomorrow. Well, that's gone because there is tomorrow now. He doesn't have to play like there's no tomorrow. There is a tomorrow. There's a contract waiting for him at the end of the season. He's just got to be healthy enough to get there. He knows that, and that's why I don't think he's willing to do some of the things, take some of the risks that he was willing to take before. And he's not a big dude. So, anyway. Miko the Don, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, you know a blitz look is bad when the QB can ID the blitzer from the secondary. A lot of times, if you're a smart quarterback, you'll be able to identify if a corner or a slot blitz is coming, especially a slot blitz, because 9 times out of 10, the safety is the one responsible for that defender or that receiver, rather. And so he has to come over, and he's usually aligned right behind. It's a dead giveaway. Really, it is. So my problem is, okay, fine. They know you're blitzing. I don't care if they know you're blitzing, right? Don't come from the moon. I call them moon blitzes. Don't come from the moon and think you're going to get a guy. We sent Defoe on a blitz. Dude is 20 yards at the snap. He's on a dead sprint now, right? But at the snap of the ball, he's 15 yards away. Now, he's on a dead sprint, and we know Defoe can run. But Daniel Jones ends up handing it off to Saquon Barkley. And even if he didn't, I'm like, Defoe, what were you going to do? Bro, you coming from the moon. What you going to do on this play? Like, that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, what are we doing? What was the point of that? Wait, you're just trying to show them, hey, we'll blitz. You better be careful. Like, are you firing off warning shots or something? What are we doing right now? What was the point of that? I'm not a fan of useless blitzes. Everything needs to serve a purpose. The closer you are to the line of scrimmage, usually the better odds you have of getting to the quarterback when you blitz. A guy coming from 15 yards out isn't really scaring a quarterback when he's trying to deliver the football, unless the quarterback holds on to the ball too long and now that guy's allowed to get there. Video channel, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Video channel writes, Niners about to have us back talking about Snyder's possible sale and QB options in the draft. Lions rubbing hands like Birdman again. Hey, the Niners game, I don't care how bad it is. I know a lot of you would be done with the season if the Niners beat us 35-13, right? But I don't care how bad the game is. I fully go into that game expecting the worst, okay? Mentally, I've prepared myself. It's not a kamikaze mission, but you can get your ass whooped. All right, this is one of those games where you like, look, tell my mama I love her if I don't make it. I might be back, but just in case I don't come back, tell my mama I love her. That's what kind of game this is. There's the, hey, play this tape for my kids. I know I'm not coming back. I'll never see my kids again. Play this tape for them, okay? When they get 17, when they get 18, play this tape for my kids. I know I ain't coming back. That's a kamikaze mission. That was Buffalo last year in week number 3. We ain't had none of them this year. It won't not a near kamikaze mission on the schedule this year. But this is a, hey, if I don't come back, tell my mama I love her. We might not be back. Ain't a guarantee. I think we can be back. I think we get to come back home and kiss our mom, right? I think. It ain't no guarantee though. Got another super chat. This one is from Miko the Don. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Miko the Don writes, I love players like Juice. He sees how much he means to the team and already declared he's playing this week. Love to see it. Well, he was close to playing last week, so I knew he was playing this week. I'm not worried about Juice. You know what else I love about Juice? He's very aware. He's aware of the situation in Washington. He's aware of his surroundings. He's a smart dude. He gets it. On the field, off the field. We need more like him because he gets it. 110%. Mr. Ron B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Mr. Ron B. Writes, OG, triple OG. Lou, yeah, Saturday is Christmas Eve, but living here in the Bay Area, I can't pass up the chance to go to this game. I'll be there to represent you guys. Well, you know what you got to do. It's going to be a sea of red there. Not red as in Redskins, but red as in 49ers. But you know what you got to do. I don't have to tell you. You know what the mission is. Carry it out. Do it with pride. And hopefully I see you on the other side. All right? Make it happen. OG, triple OG. Mr. Ron B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Writes, not sure I'll be able to sign on for the post-game live chat, so I want to wish you and the LTN community peace and blessings this holiday season. Likewise. We're getting close, man. It seems like, I'm going to be honest, Christmas got here in a flash, like a blur. And it's next week. What are we talking about? It's literally next Sunday. But likewise to you and yours, man. Enjoy it. And I hope Christmas will be that much sweeter with a win, and with a loss, Christmas it'll be Christmas, but it'll suck. I'm going to be honest with you. It sucks with playing the 49ers, Sucks with playing the 49ers before Christmas. Much would have rather this have been Houston. I'll just say that. Let's see. John Perez, my guy JP, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. JP writes, not going to lie, Lou, I ain't see you this mad since the 2018 draft, but if we miss the playoffs again, could heads roll in DC? I told you I'm not mad. I'm mad and angry are one and the same. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. It's a difference. And disappointment is a totally different emotion because it doesn't have to be this way. It's easier to accept failure when there are clear deficiencies that you just can't do anything about. 2020, when Ron first got here, look, man, the roster's trash. We don't have an answer at quarterback. We had Dwayne Haskins, but what was that really, right? Like, there was a lot of things that were fundamentally wrong with this team from a roster standpoint. We don't have to go through the receivers that, we were throwing the football to in 2020s. I don't need to do that. You guys know, right? Like, we were bad. We weren't a good football team. 2021, you were slightly better, but you still had a lot of deficiencies, right? Curtis Samuel gets hurt. De'Ami Brown wasn't ready, and the receiver position looked pretty much the same as it did the year before, except we didn't have those other guys. It was just really just Terry, right? So it was rough. 2022, it's a totally different story. We got the weapons on offense. You're missing Chase Young, but the defense was way better this year than it was last year. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think the defense is better. And I told you this before the season started. It's going to be better because of the schedule we're playing. If we played better quarterbacks this season, our defense would be just like it was last year. I'm going to be honest with you. If we played better quarterbacks, if we weren't playing Trevor Lawrence before he got his act together. You know how many passes Trevor Lawrence missed in week 1? You saw what Jared Goff did to us in week 2 defensively. You saw what Jalen Hurts did to us in a quarter in week 3. Now, again, all of that was without Cam Curl. And once he came back, the defense got better, right? But trust me, if we were playing the schedule we played last year, this year, our defense would look like it did last year. I think the fact that we played the Titans with no receivers, with no skill guys, right? The fact that we played the Texans and Davis Mills, right? This helped out our defense tremendously. We played Marcus Mariota in the Falcons. Like, these quarterbacks have contributed to the success that this defense has enjoyed this season. Don't fool yourself, okay? Had we been playing better quarterbacks, the defense would struggle. So I'm disappointed because I feel like with everything that was set up for us on a tee this year, the schedule, the late bye week, the quarterbacks that we're facing, the amount of talent that we have now, the upgrades, we're getting a lot of contributions from young players. Do you know how refreshing that is? That some of your best players are also some of the younger players on the team. You see what Jahan Dotson is. You see what Brian Robinson is. You know Antonio Gibson can be a player for you. You know Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel is like 26 years old. He's like 25 or 26. He's young. He's a spring chicken. He's going into his last year of his deal next year. I want him back as long as he's healthy. He's excellent. I was wrong about him. And I knew he was capable of being really good. But I wanted Corey Davis. I love Curtis Samuel. I love what he brings to the table. Derek Forrest, Cam Curl, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen. These are all young guys. Young players. Some of them still, like Deron Payne and Montez Sweat, on rookie deals. These are your best players. Jamin Davis is a good football player. Benjamin St. Juste looks like the real deal. He's in his second year. John Ridgeway is a force up front against the run. I love John Ridgeway. This is a good roster. It's not a great roster, but it's trending in the right direction. And with the schedule that we're playing and the opportunities the Giants are not a better roster than us. They're just not. Watching the film was so heartbreaking because it pointed to the lack of coaching for this team and the lack of resources that they have and them making do with what they have. They look like we looked in 2020 when we didn't have any talent. That's what the Giants look like. They're just better coached. And they have a very favorable schedule, like the rest of us in this division do. And they're taking advantage of it. It's just disappointing, which is why you're getting this emotion out of me, because we shouldn't be in this predicament at 7-6-1. We should not be sitting here right now having this discussion about needing to win 2 out of our final 3 and feeling like we're about to be slaughtered next on Saturday night against the San Francisco 49ers. We shouldn't be having this conversation. But we squandered the lead against the Vikings, and you could really cancel out the Colts win. They're one and the same. Like, we stole a win from the Colts, and we gave away one against the Vikings, so those kind of canceled each other out. And usually your record is a reflection of who you are. We're really a 500 team. That's who we are. The brand of football that we play, how we execute, the inconsistency that we have on a weekly basis, we're a 500 team, and that's right around where we are. The record is reflective of who we are as a team, but that's frustrating because we don't have to be that. But here we are. Will heads roll? I don't think heads are rolling in DC. I don't. 1/6 Devil Doc. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Merry Christmas to you, your family, and the mob. Likewise, 1/6 Devil Doc. Shout out to your wife as well. I won't be able to catch you live with the new work schedule except on Wednesdays. Hopefully we win out. I hope we do as well. I won't count on it, and I don't think you should either. But that's why they play the games. That's why they play the games. This is, I'm going to repeat this again. This is not a kamikaze mission. This is not Buffalo last season, week 3, where you knew ain't no way. They were resting players. Josh Allen had a headset on and was chumming it up and keying with 8 to 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter last year in a game in week 3. That's not what this is. So, I'm going to just tell you right now, this is a winnable football game. The likelihood is that we won't, though. But it's a winnable game. Mr. Ron B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Mr. Ron B, triple OG, writes, what are your thoughts of YouTube likely to land the Sunday ticket if reports the truth? It doesn't bother me. It ain't putting no money in my pocket, Mr. Ron B. It's just somewhere else I got to go to get my Sunday ticket. So, excuse me. I don't love streaming services having, these types of things. I don't love Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. I don't hate it, but I don't love it because I have to stream it. And anytime you're streaming something, all bets are off. It's like basically landline using your Ethernet cord versus wireless using your Wi-Fi. Ethernet cord's a lot safer, a lot less hassle, and a lot less likely you're going to have, your stream dropped or, have your screen freezing on you or, any kind of technical difficulties. Wi-Fi, all bets are off. Anything could happen. That's kind of how I feel about, having it on DirecTV. And look, they had their moments where it was not stable, right? But they're more of a stable, reliable source. I don't love DirecTV, by the way. I can't stand DirecTV, actually. But that's another discussion for another day. YouTube having it, making you stream it. I don't love it, but it'll be fine if they do. Protect Sports Network. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Tones, writes, love you, big bro. Happy holidays. Upset Saturday? Likewise, the feeling is mutual, man. Happy holidays to you and yours. You and the wife, man. Enjoy the holidays. Enjoy each other's company. Upset Saturday. I wouldn't bet on that. But I believe you predicted a win before the season started against them. I think I might be mixing up my seasons. Either way, it could happen. I mean, understand, this is the same exact spot we were in against the Eagles. Like, it's identical, okay? We came off of a heartbreaking loss the week prior against Minnesota at home. Now you got to turn around, go on the road. The difference there was it was a longer week because we played on Monday night. But the Eagles were coming off of a Thursday night game against the Texans, so they were well rested, and they were 11-point favorites, and everybody expected them to smoke us. Hard-fought loss at the crib against the Giants. All right, so hurtful loss at home. 49ers win the previous Thursday, so they're chilling, 11 days off to prepare. Theirs is going to be 10 now with the shorter week. Okay, so that's the difference. The one difference is a shorter week, not a longer one. But we're going into the Lions Den. We should get smoked. I guarantee you the line is no shorter than 7. I would guess 7, 7.5. 49ers are favorite in this game, if I had to guess, right? We shouldn't win this game. We got to go on the road. It's identical. Will the results be identical? Stay tuned. Quentin Ruiz, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, I don't know why I keep arguing with TH meat riders. First of all, don't call them that, okay? Don't call them that. They like Taylor Heineke. There's nothing wrong with them liking Taylor Heineke, okay? They want to see the guy succeed. We all do, some more than others, okay? At the end of the day, he's not Kirk Cousins. Anybody that tries to defend him as such, we can have a dialogue. We can have a back and forth about Taylor Heineke, all right? For every pro, there's a con. And I can go back and forth with you if you'd like. But anyone that's trying to convince you that he's a starting quarterback in this league, they clearly don't watch enough football around the league. Clearly. Because there are other circumstances as to why this team hasn't succeeded this year. On offense, in particular. It's not just the quarterback position. Again, we've watched the team this year. We've watched every single snap. We know the offensive line hasn't been great. We know that Scott Turner isn't the best. Okay. But in saying that, the line doesn't give up pressure on every play. There's time on plays. And this is when you need your quarterback to make plays. Every play isn't going to be perfect. But if there's enough time, I need the quarterback to do his job. And I can't be assured that Taylor Heineke is going to do that enough throughout the course of a game to give us a chance to win. That's the problem. So, I don't have a problem with people loving Taylor Heineke. He's a great dude. And I can't say that. I don't know him personally. He's an easy guy to root for. But don't confuse the two. Great guy, fun to root for, great player. We know he's a starter. They're not the same. Those are two separate entities. Separate them. Two conversations. You can love a guy and say, hey, don't ever want to see you in the game, but I love you though. That's not how I feel about Taylor Heineke, by the way. But I don't want him starting. But as I've said many a times, I think he's the best quarterback for this team this year. But I wouldn't be shocked if we see number 11 again. If he plays like he did on Sunday night against the 49ers. And the likelihood is that could occur because the 49ers are much better on defense than the Giants are. He could be on the bench. And he'll have no one to blame but himself because he's missed too many opportunities that you just can't miss in this league. It's hard. This league is hard, man. This league is tough. And when the opportunities present themselves, you got to take them and you cannot miss. Man, they are hard to come by. Protect Sports Network. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Who writes, 8 years later, still love the content. The GOAT, man. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, bro. Truly, I do. And so glad that you're seeing the success that you're seeing as well, man. So keep at it. Really do appreciate you, as always. Will Kavanaugh. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Lou, the one thing I got annoyed at was how many times we ran Curtis, no matter how many times he got stuffed at the line. I said this with the mob watching the game, and then I said it directly after when I was talking on the post-game show. Curtis, this was the first game this season that I felt Curtis Samuel was forced as a runner. It wasn't organic. It wasn't natural. It wasn't within the game plan and the scheme, or not the scheme rather, but the flow and the rhythm of the game. Normally, Curtis runs happen in the second quarter, in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter, you know, as the defense has had a chance to be worn down a bit, the offense gets lathered up, and now you hit them with a changeup. You've been getting hit with a hammer, a sledgehammer in Brown Robinson over and over again. And now this little jitterbug comes in here, and you're like, shit, where'd he come from? They went to him too quickly. And remember, the Giants just saw us 2 weeks ago, and he had some successful runs against them. You really think they weren't prepared for his ass? Anytime they saw 10, they was like, hey, watch his little ass. Watch him. This was the first time this year that Curtis Samuel was in the first 15 scripted plays. I don't think that's healthy that he's in the first 15. We know he's going to get the ball. You don't have to put him in the first 15. He forced that, and it backfired. He didn't need to do that. Will Kavanaugh, stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB. Really appreciate you, Will. Mob, y'all know what to do. Show Will some love. Welcome him with open arms. Welcome to the squad, Will Kavanaugh. Rocky D, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, what's up, fellow Monarch? What's good with you, man? He says, underdog week. I'm very optimistic. But he says, if we pull off an upset Saturday, we 2 games up or we game and a half, I believe. But, wishful thinking, right? If we win, it all would depend in terms of how much we would be up in the standings would be dependent upon what happens with Detroit and Carolina and Seattle and Kansas City. It's no longer about the Giants. They're no longer our chief concern because we blew that opportunity. Okay. Now we need to worry about, remember, I was talking all this cold hard cash about, hey, the hell with the 7 seed. 6 is what I'm after now. Let New York and Detroit and Seattle worry about the crumbs, right? That's the table scraps. Let them worry about crumbs. That's crumbs, man. I ain't worried about that. That's the 7 seed. We better than that's beneath us. Now our ass is on the ground looking up at the table, hoping a crumb falls down. Chomping at the bit that those table scraps fall to the ground and we get to pick them up. Hey, you don't want the crust on that bread? I'll take it. Now we're fighting for the 7 seed. Sad state of affairs, but this is what happens when you lose games that you have no business losing. So if we win and those teams lose, then you're a game and a half up in the standings. Now you got a little bit of breathing space. If you lose and they lose, you're still you're still a half game up in the loss column. The thing that we can't allow to happen is for us to have the same amount of losses. We can have the same amount of wins. We can't have the same amount of losses. If that happens, they jump us. Okay. So right now we've got 6 losses. Detroit has 7. But if Detroit has 7 losses and we have 7 losses, guess what? Detroit has 8 wins and we have 7 wins. So that's the key, is we can't let them catch us in the loss column, because that means they have more wins than we do. Let's see. AVL1. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. AVL1 writes, Lou, never heard you bust so heavy on Heineke. O-line? I've been critical of Taylor Heineke before, but this has been the caveat. I've been critical on Heineke, but we won. So you're able to give that criticism, but still put it in the framework of, hey, bro, we still won the game. Like, he's got to be better, but I'll take the dub. Well, we lost. So now it's not in this nice, neat package that it was before. I've been saying the same shit. The message is just being delivered a bit more aggressively because we lost. And now it's nut cutting time. No more finessing this stuff. No more, oh, well, we'll get them next time. No, we're running out of time. The phrase was, hey, still plenty of football left. That's not the case anymore. With every loss, every week that passes, we get closer to the end of the season. And if we don't have enough in the left-hand column, I'm going to be disappointed the entire offseason because we should be playing bonus football. We should be playing bonus football. I'm already upset that we're not going to win double-digit games this season. I can't say that because if we win all 3 of these final games, we will win double digits. But this was supposed to be the year we won more than 10. This is the year to win 11. And you know what? When we were 7-5 and we were about to play the Giants, I told you what Ron Rivera did in his 3rd year in Carolina. I don't know why I do this to myself, but I allowed myself to start thinking crazy and reckless. Hey, what if Ron does that here? He started out 1-3 in Carolina in his 3rd year, and then they went 12-4. What if we start 1-4 and then we end up 12-5 or 11-6? Mine was blown because we started winning games like crazy, and I'm like, he's about to do this. Nah, he's not. We're not doing that. I've been critical of Heineke in the past. A lot of times people hear what they want to hear. I've been talking about needing more from Heineke. But when you win, it's easy for your ears to not really receive the message because you're happy and you're jovial and everything's going well. But I've been delivering this message. It was a little bit harsher this time because we lost a big game, and he was a part of the reason why we lost that big game. A big part of the reason we lost that big game. All right. Almonte Bookings. Stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB. Greatly appreciate you. Mob, you know what to do. Show Almonte Bookings some love. Almonte Bookings, welcome to the squad. Welcome aboard. All right. Almonte Bookings, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. And once again, welcome to the MOBB, who writes, I guess it's time for me to come out of lurking. Nothing wrong with that, man. Good to see you. Good to come out of the darkness into the light. It feels good, man. Bathe in that light, man. Bathe in that light. Okay? I've been watching you for years. Love your content. I normally can't catch your lives because I'm a ticket party promoter, but I rewatch everything. I appreciate you, man. And I always tell people, the playback is always here, man. It's always here. It ain't going nowhere. So get the bread, man. Go out there. Go get the money. Go get the money. Go get the money. Go get the money. This will be here. All right. Almonte Bookings. See how getting into the light feels? Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Almonte Bookings, who writes, I love your ticket giveaways and your channel, period. You already know what season it is. I would like to donate 6 tickets to Imagine Dragons on January 6th. To your channel, I'll contact you by email. Sounds good, man. Any donations you have, I have no problems making sure that those tickets find the hands of some people who will cherish them. So by all means, knock yourself out. You know how to contact me, LouieTeeNetwork@gmail.com. All right. Miko the Don, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, couldn't let this slide. We had a successful screen. Celebrate. We did. Terry had a nice screen set up, and it could have went the distance. I always make sure that during the film breakdown, when we have a good play, and Scott had several in this game, I make sure I point them out because we get tunnel vision as fans sometimes, and we don't like giving credit to people that we don't like or we don't think they're doing a good job. And so you gloss over the good shit, and you make sure you point out all of the bad stuff, right? What did Drake say? Yell out my failures and whisper my accomplishments, something to that effect. That's what a lot of you like to do with Scott Turner. You used to do the same with Jack Del Rio. Didn't want to really give him any credit because you wanted him gone. Scott Turner did some good things. This is what I can't stress this enough about Scott. I got a love-hate relationship with Scott because I love a lot of the stuff that he does. I don't always love how he uses some of his weapons, and I can't stand his philosophical belief of my scheme trumps all. To me, players are what drives success, and your scheme, you fit your scheme to mesh and meld with what your players are capable of doing. I think he is too scheme driven. But that said, he does some good things. And the screen to Terry worked. And it had a chance to pop for even more. The little, reverse to Diami. It worked. It's a great play call, right? Like, he did some good things. That I told you, that third quarter drive, that 6-play, 92-yard drive. Let me say that again for the people in the back. 6-play, 92-yard drive in like 3 minutes. Thing of beauty. I called it the best drive of the season. From start to finish, that thing was flawless. No wasted snaps. Just bing, bang, boom, good night, touchdown. Let's go to work. And what's frustrating is after we did that, the defense gave up a drive. Now, I don't remember if the Giants scored, but I know the Giants had the football for like 4 or 5 minutes after that drive. And I'm like, bro, we just gave the home crowd, the home faithful, something to cheer about. We just wrestled. Like Uncle Mo was, I'm talking about, he was chilling, relaxing on that Giants sideline. And we finally got him to sit up in the chair. He didn't get up, but he sat up like, do I need to get up and go? And the Giants said, man, relax. Let me get you some slippers, man. Matter of fact, let me take the slippers off your feet. Recline, man. Told him sit back down. Ate up 5-6 minutes of the clock. I think they ended up having a punt, but they still took they wrestled the momentum away. And that's the defense. As a matter of fact, I think they scored a field goal on that drive and went up 17-9. I don't think we ever had the ball down 14-9. I think it went 14-9, and then Giants put together a drive, got a field goal, and made it 17-9. Anyway. Jay Cool. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, what up, Lou? What's up, J. Cool? Says, appreciate your thoroughness. Just released a Commander song called Burgundy Flex. Let me know what you think. I know how much you don't care for that left hand up song. LOL. All right, well, point me in the direction of the song, and I'll give you my opinion. Look, don't ask if you don't want to know. I'm just telling you right now. I had a dude, love him to death. I'm not gonna do that. Just know I'm a music connoisseur. Okay. Some people drink wine just to drink wine. Some people drink wine to taste the wine. The ones that drink wine just to get drunk, they just want some alcohol. I drink wine because it tastes good. That's how I am with music. I don't just listen to music because it's got a dope beat and the hook is sick. I'm actually listening to the words. All right. I'm listening to how everything weaves and flows together. The melodies, everything, right? Don't send me no bullshit now. Because I'm not gonna lie to you. I hate when women say, babe, how do I look? Or do I look fat in this? Don't ask me if you don't want the answer. Okay. Sometimes that shit gets you in trouble though. I'm learning. Like, bro, pick your battles. But you ain't my female. You ain't my woman. So I'm not gonna hold back. So I'm just telling you, if you really want to know, send it to me. If you got thin skin and you're not sure if your shit is dope, just put it out there and don't send it to me. Okay. But I definitely will listen to it if you send it. Miko the Don, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, year one Scott with this offensive talent would be nice. I mean, year one Scott still had some situational awareness issues, but he was way more creative. But that was out of necessity. I remember, so when it was funny, I was listening to something and it made so much sense after he said it. Because you would think when you get a bunch of weapons, it would force you to be more creative. And Kyle Shanahan was asked when he got Christian McCaffrey, oh my God, are you so excited about all the endless possibilities and the creativeness that you're going to be able to have with Christian McCaffrey? He's like, shit, I was creative before I got Christian McCaffrey. This is going to allow me to not have to be as creative. And I said, well, damn. Ain't that the truth? Why do I need to be super creative when I got Christian McCaffrey? I can run Christian McCaffrey to the left. I can run him to the right. I can throw it to him out of the backfield. This simplifies things for me. I had to be creative when I had Mason, a rookie out of Georgia Tech, in my backfield because he's not Christian McCaffrey. I had to be creative with Deebo Samuel when Elijah Mitchell went down because I really didn't have a true back I could rely on. Now I got Christian McCaffrey. I don't have to be as creative. And that's what I'm saying with Scott Turner. Like, he's doing too much sometimes. Like, bro, you reinventing the wheel. You got Jahan Dotson, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Antonio Gibson, and Brian Robinson. And we used to have J.D. McKissick. A lot of y'all forgot about J.D. before he got hurt. You don't have to be as creative. Do the simple shit. These guys will get it done for you. Jamal Hamlin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jamal writes, hey, Lou, what do you think our path to victory needs to be if we can score high enough to win? Do we really expect the defense to hold teams to even lower scores? So we know what the formula for success for this team is. We know what it is. We've seen it. We know what that looks like. Control time of possession, run the football, remain in third and shorts, convert those, because we're not good in third and long, third and medium, third and long. We don't thrive in those situations. Again, 1 for 10 versus the Giants on Sunday. Okay. As a matter of fact, let's go look. I think the Texans game might have been the last game that we had some semblance of success, but you probably got to go all the way back to the Eagles game to see this team having any type of success on third downs. But let's just, we know we were 1 of 10 against the Giants this time around. I think we were 3 of 10 the first game. I'm about to go check right now. 3 of 14 in the first game. So 1 of 10, 3 of 14. So 4 of 24 in 2 games versus the Giants. Okay. That's pretty damn bad, right? Falcons game, I don't think we were very good on third downs in that game, but there were a lot of third and shorts, if I recall, in that game because it was wet. We ran it a lot. 5 of 12. So that's the last game we had some success. 5 of 12. That was a pretty good day, third down wise, for any team, not just us, but that's a really good day for us. 3 of 13 against the Texans. So we were not good that day. And in the Eagles game, that's the gold standard. I think we were like 11 of 20 or some craziness like that. 12 of 21 against the Eagles. Like, that is the gold standard game, right? But that's because we lived in 3rd and 1 and 2. Like, we lived in 3rd and short because of the amount of the sheer volume of runs in that game and how much success we had on 1st and 2nd down. It allowed us to convert. So we know the recipe for us is, we know what the recipe for success for us is. Run the football, or you don't have to necessarily run it as much as you just need to have success on the early downs, 1st and 2nd down. Avoid penalties and negative plays to put you in convertible third downs, and really short third downs, short 3 or less is what you're looking for with this offense. And then we have to score at the end of these drives, even if it's just a field goal. You hate kicking field goals all the time, but you have to get something. Like, too often of late, especially these 2 Giants games in particular, we're moving the ball and there's nothing to show for it. The first possession of the game is a great example. It's a great start to the game. Brian Robinson with a man-child run. You get a couple of nice completions, and all of a sudden you look up and you're in Giants territory. You're at the 34-yard line, and Heineke takes a sack, and now Ron has a decision to make. Do I punt this ball, which I don't think should have been an option, but clearly that's the one he chose? Do I go for this? A little long after the sack. It's more like 4th and 8, 9. That's not really what you want to do. Or do I kick a field goal? I think the answer was you kick a field goal. If you're not going to go for it, you kick a field goal. Well, we need some points out of that. We didn't get anything. In the first game against the Giants, I pointed out the 11-play and the 12-play drive in the second half where we got no points out of either one of those drives. Missed a field goal and then had to punt because of a penalty and then a sack by Heineke on 3rd down. You can't do that. You can't put together these drives and come away with no points. The thing against the Eagles that was, I think, the reason we ultimately won the game is because every one of those drives that we put together on the Eagles, we came away with something. We came away with something. Even the 58 and 55-yard bombs, we got something out of those drives. There were no empty drives when we moved the football. There was a Heineke interception on one drive, but outside of that, and that was on a 3rd down, I think, and it was 3rd and long, so it was like a punt. Outside of that, there weren't any wasted drives. We moved it, we got something for it. We weren't giving away drives like, 11 plays, 6 minutes, 47 yards. I don't need any points for that. That's good. You can have it. No, I need 3 at least. Give me 3. Give me something. We know what the formula is. Run the football or have early down success. I'll just say it that way. Have early down success, convert 3rd downs, move the football in the sticks, and get points. Get points. Convert in the red zone, if at all possible. Score touchdowns, and give yourself a chance. Win time of possession, and that's how you're going to have a chance to win. And we need to create turnovers. That's a must for us. Is create turnovers, at least one. I'm trying to think of a game this season that we've won and we didn't create a turnover. I don't think there are any. I'm curious now. I don't even think I can do this with my head. We had the turnover at the end against Jacksonville with Derek Forrest. We didn't win again until week 6 against Chicago. We know that was a game filled with turnovers. If not for the turnovers in the red zone, they beat us in that game. So had turnovers against Chicago. We forced turnovers. And really that special teams turnover was the one that changed the game. We wouldn't have scored a touchdown without that. The following week against Green Bay, muffed punt in that game, changed everything. They were going to beat our ass, and then their dude muffed the punt. We recovered it, just like the Bears game the week prior, changed everything. So we got a turnover in that game. The following week after that, we won again on the road at Indy. Jonathan Taylor fumbled in that game. Got a turnover there. Then we lose to Minnesota. I don't think we got any turnovers in that game. We beat Philadelphia. That was turnover galore in that game. I think we forced 4 in that game. We beat the Texans after that. Pick 6 to start the scoring in that game, right? Then we beat Atlanta. Obviously, the pick at the end of the game to secure the victory. And then I think we forced 1 of Daniel Jones in the first game with the tie, and then we didn't force any. So in order to win, we need to force a turnover. That's been proven this season. Without a turnover, we probably don't win the game. So we never got that from the Giants. We need to create a turnover at least. And then you got to hold the other team down as well. You can't be giving up 24, 27 because we can't go that high. The scoreboard on our side of the scoreboard doesn't go to 24 or 26 or 27. It stops at around 23 or 20 or 17. So you got to keep the scoring down defensively. Offense can help with that by sustaining drives and winning time of possession. But the defense, when they get on the field, they actually have to stop the offense too. So, yeah. Let's see. Rocky D, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Rocky D writes, I feel like this week is a Thanos situation. Double up. I don't think it's a double up for Rocky D, first and foremost. He says, I feel like this week is a Thanos situation. For example, we win, cool. What will it cost us injury-wise? I pray it's not like that. Well, like, hey, it's going to cost you a little something, right? You go up against Thanos, so you know you're going to lose a couple of dudes, right? You're going to lose a couple of soldiers. Are you prepared for that? What's it to you? How bad you want it? How bad you want it? That's what you got to ask yourself. At what cost? I want it bad. I want it bad. I'm willing to pay the cost to get it done, to put myself in because look, at the end of the day, we got 3 of these things left. We can't afford to be giving them away because we're scared that we might lose this guy or that guy. All right, whatever. I need it. I need it. Look, we don't have a lot that we can give up at this point, but all hands on deck, as Ron said. That's where we at with it right now. Got a super chat here from Chauncey Davis. My guy, Chauncey Davis, OG, triple OG, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, if Kyle Shanahan had this team, even with TH4, he'd do damage with this team, even with Taylor Heinicke at quarterback, because situationally, and even sometimes they have their struggles in the red zone, but situationally, if you gave Kyle Shanahan this talent that we have on our team, are you kidding me? You know what he would do with Terry McLaurin? Oh my God, Terry McLaurin would have 1,500 yards receiving every year with Kyle Shanahan. You know why? Because with all the play action fake and with all the drift routes, remember the Pierre Garçon drift route? Deebo Samuel's running that in San Francisco, catching dig routes and taking off on people. You know how much Terry would be eating with him as a. We saw what Pierre Garçon and Deshaun Jackson did every year with they weren't here for that. Aldrick Robinson was getting behind the defense. Are you kidding me? With Kyle Shanahan? Aldrick Robinson? You know what he would do with Terry? We already see what he's doing with Deebo Samuel is what he would do with Curtis Samuel. But So you already got a little bit of a feel for that. And then Jahan, like Jahan potentially is the 49ers have why am I blanking on his name? I don't know why I can't think of the Arizona State receiver. Why I'm blanking on his. I think Jahan has a chance to be better than him. I don't know why I can't think of his name right now. But Kyle would kill it with this offense. I need to dig too deep into that, but Kyle would kill it with this offense. But we all know that. Miko the Don, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, I might sound crazy, but I think Scott's time is coming to an end. When players are bringing up play calling and the head coach is talking about inconsistency of our red zone offense in year 3, that's bad. Yeah, but I don't think that constitutes him getting fired in Ron's eyes. I think that means in the offseason, you've got to go back to the drawing board and figure out why we weren't successful in the red zone and make it better next year. That's what I think that means. I don't think that means that he's going to be fired. That's what I think that means. But, we'll see. Chauncey Davis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. OG, triple OG, writes, Lou, Chauncey, when you predict a loss, somehow we win. This is true, but it's got to be authentic. It has to be genuine. It can't be fabricated. The football gods know the difference, and they make you pay for that type of stuff. So I'm very careful about doing that. Like, you don't just pick the opposition just for the sake of doing it because we win when I do that. It'll be authentic this week. So you don't have to worry about that. Miko the Don, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, why don't we run a fake jet sweep, screen, or deep shot? We don't have to hand it off. Well, they run a ton of fake, jet sweeps and a lot of motion, ghost motion and all that stuff. But there's ways for them to get creative. I've pointed them out during the live, Mob Squad film breakdowns, where if you wanted to get creative, you wanted to get nasty and filthy, there's ways to do it. And I've schemed them up and I've showed you. Like, I've shown you this is a way you can do it. But, Spanking Giant Cheeks, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, quick, everyone, bet 50 on the 49ers. We will win faux show. I could think of a lot of things you could do with your $50 better than that, but knock yourself out. All right. Got a super chat here from Almonte Bookings. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Almonte Bookings writes, how about this? Imagine dragging these. Again, you didn't get me. Like, what are you doing? Right? I'm not gonna read them. I'm just gonna show them on the screen. I'm not gonna read them. Oh man. The goal of these nuts, right? Or these in general, is to get somebody to say what. You still haven't done that in like 3.5 months. You haven't got me to say what. That's the point of these nuts, just so you know, okay? Oh man, imagine dragons. Okay. All caps. Thank you, Monty Bookings. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, all caps, muddy. Oh man, I can't with you, man. FL2s. So my question is, was that a real person or did you make up that person? That's really creative. You still didn't get me. But if you made that person up, join the mob, all that good stuff, that's creative. If you really did do that, I got to give you credit for that. You still didn't get me, but if you did do all of that, golf clap. Golf clap. FL2s, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, B-Rob has 1 carry in red zone in last 3 weeks. 13 red zone passes, 5 runs. B-Rob 1 carry, plus 1 called back. Ronald the Clown needs to hold his guy accountable. I didn't realize it was that bad in terms of touches in the red zone. I know a lot of there's no excuse for that, because I'm thinking about all the 25 and 26-yard field goals that we've kicked. That means you got inside the 7-yard line. You're kicking field goals from that close. There's no excuse for him not to touch the football when you're inside the 10-yard line. Hell, you get to the 11, like we did against the Giants after his 18-yard run, he should be touching the football at a bare minimum of once, if not twice, because you can still get a first down. I just think about the run against Philadelphia, and him backing his way towards the end zone. 2 Eagles are holding him up, and he's dragging Fletcher Cox's 90-year-old carcass towards the goal line and then stretches the bitch out and gets the touchdown. And I'm just thinking, why wouldn't you want to be given that dog, okay, the rock in the red zone as many times? Why wouldn't you want to feed that pit bull? That doesn't make any sense to me. But again, I'm not the play caller. Let's see. Monty Bookings, aka Luck. I was gonna email you a picture of Welvin. Oh my God, I can't. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I digress. That's gonna do it for me, your man Louie T. I thank you guys for watching. Feel like I dropped a lot of gems on your melon tonight, and for some of y'all, it was a little bit too much. But I was in gem dropping mode. I was in rare form tonight, so I hope you were taking notes. I danced around a bit, but it all tied in and it all made sense. So remember the holiday schedule that I talked about. I'll remind you once more. No video on Thursday. You will get an upload tomorrow. It'll be a brief one. It'll be, practice, a little bit of what was said, and our first look at the 49ers. No video on Thursday. You'll get a prediction out of me on Friday. I'll be out of the office after Wednesday. So nothing that you're accustomed to will be the same until I get back into the office, and that won't be until next week sometime. And I can't even guarantee you when that will be next week. It'll be Tuesday, Wednesday-ish, somewhere in there. But just know you'll get something from me on Friday. I'll be live with you on Saturday. And you'll have Christmas. Merry Christmas to you all. We'll do all of those pleasantries as we get closer to the 25th. And then we'll be back. Do it all over again the following week. I'll be in transit on Monday, so you probably won't hear from me on Monday. I'll probably be back like cook crack on Tuesday of next week in the office, but briefly. Then I'll be back out of the office again. And again, I'll update you on the schedule when we get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But until then, though, just wanted to remind you guys of the holiday schedule. Chauncey Davis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, it's a shame how we're using Cam Sims in the red zone, or how we're not using him in the red zone. That's what you should have said, OG, triple OG. it's a shame that none of our guys with size have gotten any opportunities. All we heard all off season was Cole Turner and his ability to go high point the football, the amount of touchdowns he scored in his last season at Nevada. And I think we got one Cole Turner red zone fade. It didn't work. And I don't remember if it was Heineke or if it was Wentz who threw it to him. I think it was Heineke. It wasn't even close. And Scott Turner was like, oh, that doesn't work. Scratched it off his list, and we never saw it again. So I don't know about that. John Graves III, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, don't give up now, Lou. 6 hours and I'm off work. Well, we about to get out of here. Mr. Yeto, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, happy holidays, Lou. Likewise to you and yours. Hope Santa brings you some Commanders gear. Been watching for years. And he says, cheers to many more. Cheers, my guy. Cheers. Almonte Bookings, a.k.a. Luck, writes, I've been planning this one for hours. You got. I'm not giving you credit for that, but I will give you credit for creativity. That was your best plan. I don't think you executed that as well as you could have. I thought you know what that felt like? It felt like a Tyler Perry movie. I felt like you set the plot up beautifully. And it's almost like you got to the end and you're like, hey, I only got 15 minutes. Wrap this shit up. And you sped the end of it up. And the ending wasn't as good as it could have been. You really, I didn't think, gave yourself a chance to really get me. You were right there, and then you rushed the ending. Anyway, next time, maybe next time. Anyway, I digress. Y'all get out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. As I mentioned, you'll get a video out of me tomorrow, and then you probably won't see me till Friday, where I'll have a prediction video for you. Until then, you guys have a good one. God bless. And good night.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap. Hand to Riggins. Good hold. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone. He's gone. Touchdown.